I woke up to loud screams. These were unintelligible and incomprehensible exclamations mixed with laughter and shouts. Why is it so noisy? The first thought that came to my mind when I tried to open my eyes. And the first thing I saw was a small fire. A bonfire? Are these people having a bonfire party? As if not paying attention to me, the clouded personalities continued to dance around the fire, singing strange motifs of shouts and exclamations. Suddenly I opened my eyes abruptly. I understood. Is this a camp party? I didn't think that I was still popular with girls. It's now or never. Suddenly, an unusually joyful fragrance attracted my nose. That smell. Roast lamb. It's definitely her. My eyes shone with happiness. Then I looked at the personalities that were standing by the fire. Beautiful girls and delicious food. A grin filled my face. I'm coming. I wanted to run as fast as I could to the beauties, but suddenly, unexpectedly, I fell right to the ground. Something was bothering me. Lifting my face off the ground, I swore. Damn. Is that a rope? Indeed, I was bound by a vine. Strong enough that I couldn't move my limbs. But it was too early to be surprised. Suddenly a window popped up in front of me, like I was in a video game. What the hell is this? I thought. And he began to read what he had written. The window read. The main task. To survive. A task. Within 12 hours, you should be hunted by primitive people. Reward. 1 skill point, as well as a survival gift bag. Countdown. 1 hour and 20 minutes left. While I was reading all this, those people still noticed that I woke up and plopped down on the ground. 2 people walked towards me. They looked quite primitive. It became even uncomfortable. More than 2 meters tall, 2 boulders were coming straight at me. One was wearing animal skin clothing that covered his shoulder and lower back. He had a huge bone in his hand. The second one had only a kind of shorts, and most of the body remained naked. But that wasn't what bothered me most of the time. Damn, what kind of monsters? Where are those cute girls? They looked at me clearly not understanding a word. For them, I was just another dinner. Hey. This is some kind of mistake. Where am I, guys? No matter how hard I tried to reach them, it seems they didn't even listen. But suddenly, they both pulled their little hands towards me, even competing to see who would grab me first. And at that moment, I had an epiphany. I remembered. I'm totally fucked. 12 hours ago. Wild lands. The sea enveloped a paradise piece of land like a blanket. The sandy beach was simply magnificent. A small ridge of rocks and a jungle, and most importantly, no one. Well, except for me of course. I was sitting on the sand, trying to recover. Clearing my throat and wiping my face with my hands, I tried to remember what had happened. Finally, I filled my palms with water and decided to wash my face in order to refresh myself. Here's the deal. Yesterday I was keeping Mrs. Jan company. We went shopping to buy her jewelry. Suddenly I fell asleep and found myself on this damn beautiful beach. Not happening. Did God punish me for being a gigolo? But that's not a crime. I was sitting on the beach and thinking. The main thought was one thing. That's what I got. Suddenly, my thoughts were interrupted by strange extraneous sounds. Yay. I immediately turned towards the source of these strange screams. And I saw people. They were the same primitive people from the pictures in the books. They mumbled and talked about something, if these screams can be called a conversation, of course. Is this some kind of prank? Not taking the situation seriously, I naively turned to them. Hey guys. Can you tell me how to get out of here? But the smallest of the people started shouting something and then raised a bone like a spear in one hand. He started swinging. Is he aiming at me? While I was thinking, the guy threw this kind of spear right at me. It's lucky for me that he wasn't so marked. The spear whizzed right by my cheek, only grazing it slightly. After this, thoughts about the draw disappeared somewhere immediately. Having weighed all the pros and cons, I made a strategic decision. To run. Running away from the attackers, I tried many ways, from persuasion to promises, and nothing worked. Guys, don't be so serious. Let me go. I shouted when it was already the 30th minute of running. But the guys didn't even think to give up. Fortunately, I have good physical fitness, and Po quietly broke away. Ha. The sound of footsteps is already further away. I think I'm still good at running. Ordinary people can't catch up with me, let alone the boy who was with them. However, the boy had other advantages. No. Another spear flew right past me, barely touching my stomach. Continuing to run away, I finally made sure that this was not a prank. This is all really happening. Suddenly, a window popped up in front of me. Starting the main task. To survive. The main task? I asked uncomprehendingly. What else is the main task? A task. Within 12 hours, you should be hunted by primitive people. Reward. 1 skill point and a survival gift bag. Countdown. 12 o'clock. Is this a system? I thought. Am I in another world? But they didn't let me figure it out. Already another guy that was taller than that kid threw a bone at me. As if sensing danger, I turned around and got a bone right in the neck. Fortunately, the blow came with a blunt end. I'm screwed, I thought, as my eyes blurred and I passed out. And here I am sitting in front of 2 Neanderthals. I'm tied up. They are standing right in front of me with clubs in their hands. Thoughts about how to proceed had to wait. A window lit up in front of me for the umpteenth time. Congratulations. You have been among primitive people for 12 hours. The survival task is completed. You have received 1 survival gift package, as well as 1 skill point. Please distribute the points manually. At least one good news. Smiling, I thought. Damn. Looks like I still have a chance not to become a dinner. While a group of primitive people were standing by the fire, I began to figure out the system. What's the reward? Show. You have received a survival gift bag. Distribute skill points manually. Then a second window appeared. Owner. Chen Li. Physical form. 1. Power. 1. Dexterity. 1. Authority. 0. Technologies. 0. Ownership. Missing. Yeah, it's pretty simple. The pros mean that these values can be increased for the skill points that I have. It's very similar to game systems. Am I really in the game? But the system didn't let me think for long. Do you want to open a survival gift bag? Open? I said confidently. It was like gears were moving in my head. Congratulate. You have acquired a skill. Initial language proficiency. Congratulate. You have acquired knowledge. Survival guide for beginners. The universal card is activated. It will display the area in which you have already been. You can specify the names of places yourself. You have received an item. A battle axe. Do you want to get a battle axe? We remind you that items cannot be returned to the storage after they are removed. Mod survival. Recording is taking place. The recording is successful. Mod fundamentals of medicine. Recording is taking place. The recording is successful. At that moment, tons of information from nowhere appeared in my head. I seem to know a lot of new things now. The processes are completed, it's time to do something about my miserable situation. Having gathered my resolve, I began to listen to what people were talking about. Vuyula. I am the most cruel and brave. I can kill the biggest beast. One of the biggest men shouted, brandishing a bone club. He fraternized with the woman sitting across from him. Vuyula. Oh my god, you're so gorgeous. I want children from you. She answered him giggling. Now I can understand the primitive language. It must be a very ancient world when culture has not yet been born and everything is at the stage of development. My goal in this game is to survive and create a civilization. So, this is an open world strategy game. Well, then let's not waste time. Let's start getting resources. Add points to strength. Purchase a battle axe. Ding. Battle axe received. Ding. Points are added to the power. 1. In a moment, the battle axe was already in my hand. And I was successfully freed from the shackles. After tearing the vines with an axe, I got into a fighting stance. I didn't expect that 1 point would add so much strength to me. I felt 5 times stronger than I was before. As expected, the primitive people noticed me. And I stood there as if nothing had happened because now I had a weapon. Grab him, don't let him escape, one of them shouted. Kill him on the spot, we'll eat him. Coming closer to me, with his companion, the giant spoke. Boy, you can't escape. Ha. I grinned. Pointing my axe in their direction, I said. Abba Abba. You bunch of ignorant savages. Have you dared to defy God? But they just looked at me blankly. Clutching their clubs. What is God? We don't understand. I took the trouble to explain to them. Everything is simple. This means that I am an authority among this bunch of primitive people. As well as your leader. I was sent by heaven to rule over you, and for insulting me, you will be punished. Gr. He growled like a disgruntled dog. And then he raised his club over his head and prepared to bring it down on me with all his weight. The main quest has been activated. Get on your feet. Goal. Intimidate primitive people, subdue them and become a leader. Reward for completing the quest. 1 skill point. 3 band-aids. In case of defeat, you will be deprived of a battle axe. Hurriedly dodging the blows, I read it all. What the hell? Lose my battle axe? That won't do. Without it, it will be very difficult to survive in this society of primitive savages. I can't lose. With these thoughts, I prepared for another giant attack. Still swinging the club over himself, he delivered crushing blows from above. But this time, I put my axe under his blow. A huge bone in the giant's hands collided with my axe. The force of his blow was so great that even the ground cracked under us. I didn't expect this guy to have so much power. Grabbing the axe with both hands, I resisted the pressure of this savage. But I also have more strength. With a little more pressure on the axe, what was supposed to happen happened. Get it? I cut his weapon. And a piece of bone fell not far from us. He didn't seem to have expected such a turn. For a moment, he looked at me, and then at the piece of bone. And then on the stump in his hands. All the savages were looking at a piece of bone lying on the ground. There was silence for a moment. I have a bad feeling. And it was not for nothing. After a second, the giant screamed at the top of his voice. How dare you break my weapon? Boys. Attack. We'll tear him to shreds. The plan was chosen immediately. Escape. Hey. This is cheating, didn't we agree on a one-on-one battle? I shouted as I ran away. Is it normal that such a crowd attacks one guy? No, I'll tell you, it's not normal. I felt one guy approach me and was about to hit me. No, there won't be a second blackout. One swing of the axe destroyed his stick. The guy fell to the ground and crawled away in fear of my axe. You're a bunch of savages. I started. It's never going to end, is it? Looking around, I realized that I was driven into a dead end. I don't want to fight you. I shouted. But you've got me cornered. Then I pointed the axe at the guy next to me lying on the ground. I'll spare him if you let me go. Give up. My speech was decisive. All the savages were looking in my direction, and their faces began to change. Meanwhile in my head. If only they hadn't attacked me in a crowd, I wouldn't have had to explain myself now. I didn't expect this bluff to work. One by one, the savages began to panic and scream. And then they turned around and started running away. Let's run. Save yourself. Even the guy who was lying next to me crawled away from fear and ran away. What are they afraid of? Am I that scary? Meanwhile, another screen with the inscription popped up. A side mission has been activated. Banish the saber-toothed tiger. Goal. Help primitive people get rid of the saber-toothed tiger. Reward. 2 skill points and the sympathy of primitive people. The mission is automatically accepted. It is impossible to refuse. The mission has begun. A side mission? A saber-toothed tiger? What the hell? While saying this, it seemed to me that I could feel someone breathing over my head, but somehow I didn't pay attention to it. However, after that something growled. I immediately turned around. Well, of course. I thought. The tiger was standing right above me and was about to grab me. I didn't invent anything new and stuck to the same tactics. Escape tactics. Oh, shit. It's really a saber-toothed tiger. The creature was not a step behind me. This is too much. Why does everyone want to eat me? The tiger ran after me, scattering and breaking stones under its weight. He was literally a meter away from me when I thought. If this continues, I will die. What an idiotic side mission. How the fuck to expel him? He'll swallow me in one bite. The tiger was still very fast. Jumping, he grazed me on the back with his claws and left a wound. I fell to the ground from the impact. Damn. Painfully. I'm definitely a corpse. We can't keep running away. I thought and stood up with an axe in my hands. But you can't go ahead either. We need to act intelligently. We need to outsmart him. What can be used against a saber-toothed tiger? And then, I noticed smoke to my right. Precisely. He's a wild animal, and they're afraid of fire. Looking at how the beast slowly approaches, I made a decision. There was only one chance. Come on, you stupid cat. I'll fight you. I shouted with all my might. He seemed only happy about it. We threw ourselves at each other, and I decided to try something that I had never tried. After making a tackle, I slipped under the cat, trying to touch it. How do you like my glancing blow? But the huge cat only stepped on me with its hind legs. The blow didn't go according to plan, so I tried on a proven method. Escape. Oh, go fuck yourself. I won't believe any more movie tricks. I cursed while I ran as fast as I could. The plants in front will help me come off a little. With these thoughts, I jumped into the bushes. As soon as I get to the campfire, I've already won. Judging by the sounds and crackling behind my back, the tiger coped with the bushes without any problems. Holy shit. I swore as I felt the paw fly past my head. I was close. Ahead. I saw the cherished bonfire. It was my salvation. The tiger was not far behind, and I decided that it would be faster to do a few somersaults. Immediately fulfilling my plan, I found myself by the fire. Looking back, it was noticed that the beast was rushing straight at me. I quickly grabbed a burning stick from the fire and shoved it into the tiger's face just when he was about to bite me. With a roar, the animal bounced off. It seems I got into the eye area. I was standing in front of the predator with a torch in one hand and an axe in the other. That's it. The torch can hurt him. Come big cat, try to catch me. I hope he backs off. What? Whence this sound? Bang. 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 At intervals of about 10 seconds, a loud knock enveloped the forest. Not happening. Is this sound coming from? Bang. Bang. Yes. That creature seems to be bigger than a tiger. It was as if small earthquakes were chipping away at the jungle. That my opponent was a tiger were looking in the direction from which the sound came. It was so loud that all the local birds that had been sleeping in the trees all this time rose into the air. It seemed that there was no trace of my formidable opponent. Now this huge cat was standing in fear, and she was clearly uncomfortable. And then she let out a long squeal and started running away. Hey! Don't run away, I challenged you. What should I do now? I was already starting to panic that my task had failed, but at the same moment the task window popped up. The V's have completed a side mission. The saber-toothed tiger has escaped. Congratulations on the successful completion of the task. You have received 2 skill points, as well as the recognition of primitive people. Distribute the points manually. Wow, 2 whole skill points. But there was no time to rejoice, because somewhere here there is the very thing that caused the tiger to run away. The sound is getting closer, we need to get out of here as soon as possible. Taking a torch with me, I ran, pumping in the process. Add 1 point to strength and agility. Strength 1. Dexterity 1. Whew. Inhaling, I felt an instant surge of strength. My speed has become much higher. After walking some distance, I came across a small hollow. Shining a torch on myself, I found the refugees. Apparently they were hiding here in case of danger. Hey! I shouted loudly. I was surrounded by questioning looks. The main leader decided to speak. Hey! How did you survive? Didn't the saber-toothed tiger eat you? He even opened his mouth in surprise. Ha! I grinned and raised the battle axe above me. This insignificant saber-toothed tiger is nothing more than a big cat to me. As soon as I attacked him, he immediately took to flight. I said it as confidently as possible so that everyone present could hear me, and in my thoughts I added, haha. Kneel down. But it seemed they were just looking at me in surprise. And so it went on for a while. What's the matter? Are they not afraid of me this time? Didn't you hear what I said? It was already I thought. When suddenly one blonde girl came up to me, obviously shyly. I was surprised, and before I knew it, she was already squeezing my leg screaming. The benefactor. You saved us all. And the crowd repeated. You saved us all. Accept our gratitude. Become our leader. So we won't have to be afraid of the saber-toothed tiger again. Some even fell to their knees and bowed to me. Is this the reward for the task? The sympathy of primitive people? I didn't expect that this sympathy would be so strong. People kept bowing and begging me. Gathering all my leadership qualities into a fist, I began the speech. First, stand up. You're so welcoming, I can't let you down. Immediately, the crowd began to cheer. You not only agreed to live with us, but also agreed to become our leader. Some shouted. My God, how touching it is, I'm going to cry. The second shouted. You really are the most powerful. Still others shouted. Ho ho ho. He became an emperor so easily. In my head, I was already dressed in ceremonial clothes and raising the blade into the sky, not far from my imperial palace. Then I raised the axe and shouted. Everyone stand up. From now on, I am your king. A system notification immediately popped up. You have successfully joined an unnamed tribe. The main quest called Get Back on Your Feet is completed. You have received 3 band-aids, as well as 1 skill point. Please distribute the points manually. After a little thought, I decided to jump into something new. Add to the physical form, please. Physical Form 1. I could instantly feel the pumping effect. Any improvement in abilities leads to qualitative development. The more points I add, the easier it will be to complete certain tasks. Then I remembered the second award. Band-Aids, what kind of reward is this? System open inventory. I said it clearly and with an expression. And in an instant, the so-called inventory opened up in front of me, although to me it looked more like a huge virtual shelving, just like in games. And there lay my reward. A small flask with a green liquid. The system prompted the patch. Effective medicine for various injuries. Stops bleeding and promotes healing. The expiration date is 1 day. Wow, that's not how I imagine it. It also has an expiration date. Yes, and only 1 day. In other words, if I take it out of the inventory, I will need to use it within 1 day, or I will have to throw it away. Then I felt a dull pain in my back. That's right, that tiger got me. I'll take 1 band-aid, let's see how he copes with such a wound. Taking out a small green clot from the inventory, I splashed it on my back, and it seemed to spread alive through the affected area. And then it soaked into my skin, and the wound disappeared as if it had never existed. All this was happening in front of the locals, and they were delighted. Needless to say, even I was surprised. It's a surprisingly good thing, it can save my life at a critical moment. Meanwhile, the Aborigines shouted various words of surprise. Wow. Wow. I turned to the former leader of these people, who then fought with me. If one of you is injured, I can give you this medicine. But all I got in response was a loud shout. Oh, our king is so powerful. Thank you. At the same time, he shouted as if I was a kilometer away from him. That's right, I replied, otherwise how can I protect you? Since I'm your king, I need to get to know you better. After these words, I pointed my finger at the former leader. Let's start with you, introduce yourself and tell us about your skills. The big guy immediately took the image of a jock and exposing his muscles began to talk. My name is Shigu or Stone Bone, and before you came, I was the boss as well as the best in battle. He looked really strong, well, it was not for nothing, he had a huge body. Then a little guy in the skin spoke out. He looked like the guide dog from the picture. My name is Agun, and I'm good at hunting. Hunting is good because it is the most important source of food. Then there was another bully, not too smart in appearance. My name is Wolf Bone, and I can growl loudly and scare away wild animals. A useful skill. We must remember. Then there was another big guy. My name is Juan, and I am the strongest. But before he could finish, he was tapped on the shoulder. No. It came from behind him. What the big guy turned around and saw a cute face there. It's me who is the strongest, Sister Huangshi. Oh, it's you. Then she came up to me and said. Dear and dear king. My jaw just dropped at that moment. How is this even possible? My name is Shanlan Da, or Big Mountain. But you can just call me yes, Big. I can throw stones. Why am I not surprised? Is she the hidden boss of the game? And while I was thinking about this question, another girl introduced herself. My name is Shaw Shaw, and I can climb trees and pick fruit. Haha. You're really skinny. Is it really finally a normal person? Suddenly. Received a slight blow to the back of the head from behind. Turning around, I said irritably. Hey. Who hit me on the head? But what I saw calmed me down in an instant. I beg your pardon, king. My name is Au. Hi. Oh my god. I've never seen such big ones in my life. Ah, hello. I squeezed out. And these are my 2 sons, I haven't come up with names for them yet. She pointed to 2 toddlers who were standing nearby. I couldn't get the grin off my face. She also has children, I thought. What? What am I thinking about? The king. Suddenly someone shouted from below. I almost jumped aside in surprise. It was a small guy who then threw spears at me so successfully on the beach. I'm a Xiong hunter, I don't have any special skills. I have good eyesight and hearing, so I'm good at finding roads. And this Xiong can be very useful as a scout in the future. Then the others introduced themselves. And finally it was my turn. My name is Chen Li. You can call me king, boss, or brother Chen. I know everything about civilization, and I came here to pass on my knowledge to you. But even after my words, they stood and only blinked in discouragement. Brother Chen? Civilization? Apparently they didn't understand half of what I said. Sighing, I continued. I will teach you a lot later, so you will change. Simply put, I guarantee you that you will be able to eat meat every day. Meat every day? They seemed to freeze for a moment, but then they came to their senses and screamed. Wow! Glory to the king! Your Majesty! And other praising cries. Ding! The interface window appeared. The host's consciousness has been detected. The main quest has been activated ahead of schedule. Settle down. I immediately began to read the contents of this new assignment. The content of the quest. Help primitive people build homes, officially create a tribe, and increase the number of people to 50. Term. 15 days. Since the quest is launched ahead of schedule, an additional 3 days are added to you. The time limit is 18 days. Reward for the quest. 3 skill points, as well as a large treasure chest and inheritance. Another main quest? I looked at the people who were standing in front of me. Even if you count these guys, there are only 15 of us now. In 18 days, you need to expand the tribe to 50 people. This will happen only by joining other tribes. It looks like these 18 days will not be the easiest, you will have to try your best. A large chest and an inheritance. This is the first time I've seen such an award. I hope I will not be deceived, I will look forward to it. While I was thinking about it and learning about the skills of all the members of the tribe, night fell. The moon illuminated the forest and the mountains that lay nearby. My subjects did not hesitate to lie down to sleep right on the ground. I was lying among them, but I couldn't sleep in one eye. I stood up abruptly and started thinking out loud. Damn. Tired of it. This lawn rubs me all over, I can't sleep. And then, how can you conquer the world on an empty stomach? I'll find something to eat first. Looking at the sleeping aborigines, I even felt sorry for them. These guys are so simple-minded, they didn't even leave a sentry. Damn. My stomach is rumbling. Where can I get food? And then a brilliant idea came to my brain. Precisely. Remembered. There was also a lot of fried meat. Who knows, maybe they haven't eaten it yet. We need to see. And then a real scene played out in my head. The brain seemed to be divided into an angel and a demon. The angel spoke. That giant beast capable of scaring off a saber-toothed tiger may still be roaming around somewhere nearby. And the demon objected. Well, you can't wait for starvation. We have to take a chance. After listening to both sides, I patted my cheeks. Enough worries, I don't think I'll run into this creature. With these thoughts, I took an axe out of my inventory and moved towards the former savage camp. Forward. Fortunately, the moon was shining quite brightly, so it was not difficult to navigate. Arriving at the place, I took a suitable shelter and began to observe. Very quiet. I thought. You have to be careful. The meat is really still being heated on the fire. After looking around, I came out of hiding and came closer to the fire. Coming up, I noticed a couple more pieces of meat and a rabbit lying nearby. And here I see there is another prey. Now that I'm king, I can't just take care of myself. Having found the likeness of a vine, I tied it around the prey. I'll take this to the guys. Let's run. After taking all the food, I went back. On the way to the shelter, I noticed something strange. Trees were scattered here and there. What's happening? It feels like the terrain has changed. And while I was thinking about it, I lost my vigilance. Not seeing an obstacle in front, I fell into a small pit. Damn. I swore on landing. Who dug this damn hole here? What? In front of me, I saw my shadow. Strange. A shadow? Where does the moonlight come from in this jungle? Stop. At that moment, I realized that I was not in a pit, but in a huge footprint left by some huge creature. What is this for such a huge footprint? And the trees were all uprooted. There was clearly someone walking here. Is it an ostrich? No. There are no such huge ostriches. Is it really? Damn. The thought came to mind so spontaneously. I'm a complete fool. I've seen a saber-toothed tiger. I should have guessed right away. It's not just the era of wild beasts here. These are the scariest creatures that have ever inhabited the planet. From this thought, I was horrified. But he did not stay in one place for a long time. We need to find a safe place as soon as possible and settle there. We can't delay a minute. That's exactly the plan that popped into my head. At dawn, all the residents were already on their feet. This chicken head is mine. A fight broke out. A fight over food. Give me the meat. Ah. Give it here. The clearing was filled with screams and shouts of division. I've been watching this for a while. But I quickly got bored. Taking a deep breath, I shouted. Everyone stop. Stop where you are. Everything immediately quieted down, and frozen muzzles with meat in their teeth stared at me. These guys do not know how to share, make a fire, do not know politeness, and the rules of economy. They have a lot to learn. Exhaling, I began to speak. Today's food will primarily go to those who go hunting. Who's with me? The former boss of this lobby took the speech. The king. We usually take turns hunting. Yesterday it was me, Agong, and Huangshi. Today it's the turn of Liu Tang, Hai Zhu Tiao and Wolf Bone. And then he made a faithful doggy expression and said. But today the king himself is with us, we all want to go. And then all the guys joined him. Yes, yes. And while they were doing bullshit, I noticed that the scout boy was depressed. This kid is probably afraid of me because he thinks that I have a grudge against him for catching me yesterday. We need to figure out how to cheer him up. And then I turned my gaze back to the goons. Well, if that's the case, I said, then let's all go together. I wanted to choose a place for the whole family to build a new house there. Sensing someone's presence from behind, I turned around. A big girl was already standing there. King, what is a family? She asked. Family is when you and your loved ones live together in one place, just like the roots of this tree. I came close to a huge tree trunk. They go deep underground, providing the family with food and security. Really? The girl said, and a second later, I was already in an embrace, such that I immediately understood why she was nicknamed the mountain. Then I can live with the king? She asked. Trying to pull away, I said. Yes. From now on we are all family, so of course we will live together. Haha. Smiling, the girl raised her hands in a victorious form and screamed. The king wants to live with me. The king wants to have a child with me. Recovering from heavy, in every sense, hugs, I added. Do not invent non-existent rules. King, where do you want to build a new house? The former leader asked me. Come to me and listen. Instantly, I was surrounded from all sides. I found a suitable wand and began to draw on the ground. See. First of all, we need a large and flat piece of land. The plain will be the best. In the north there are mountains, and in the south there is a river. This will not only make it easier for us to extract drinking water, irrigate fields, extract firewood and minerals, but also provide a safe closed area. This will significantly reduce the risk of an attack. There should be a forest on the other side of the river. Firstly, for hunting and collecting food, and secondly, in order to find seeds and wood for agriculture and the construction of houses. And finally, it would be ideal if the sea were nearby. The delta of the river can provide fertile land and a favorable environment for further training in swimming skills. The people surrounding me didn't seem to understand my ideas at all, but they were delighted with the drawings. But suddenly, the same scout raised his voice. The king, the place you're talking about. I know where it is. Grabbing the boy by the shoulders, I happily asked. Really? Then take us there soon. If you really find such a place, you will become the first minister. The guy's eyes lit up, but then an obvious tremor passed through his body. This place is not far to the east. He said. But, Your Majesty. It's better not to go there. There is a herd of bulls there, which it is better not to mess with. Bulls? I thought, and immediately presented a huge benefit from this case. What's there to be afraid of? Even better if we have a herd of cattle. It will provide us with a large amount of good meat, and you will gain herding skills. Very good. I shouted enthusiastically. Our current prey is a herd of calves. Brothers. Pick up your weapons and hit the road. Towards our new home. With these words, we raised our weapons to the sky. We arrived at the place. The forest was spread out near the mountains that loomed on the horizon. Hiding in dense bushes, we waited. The situation is normal. The smell is normal. King, the neighborhood is quiet and peaceful, we'll wait a little, and we can go out. Xiao Xiong is an excellent scout. He even put something like a chicken on his head. Standing up, I calmly said. There's no need to worry so much. If you grumble, you'll catch up with the clouds. Don't worry guys, I scared off that saber-toothed tiger, I'll protect you. The guys seemed to cheer up a little. Well, the king, from that peak you can see the gathering place of the herd of bulls. Xiao said and pointed to one of the peaks. All right, lead the way. Climbing to the top of one of the rocks, Xiao said. Press down to the ground like me. Be careful. Looking at how he behaves, you can't say that we are tracking bulls. Don't make a big deal out of a molehill, Xiao. But still, I pressed myself slightly to the ground following his advice. Are there other animals here besides a herd of bulls? Looking out from behind the top, I was delighted. This place is what you need. Surrounded by mountains, like a fortress wall, there is a valley divided by a river in half. There were several woodlands, and the soil seemed to be fertile. And that smell. It's the smell of the sea. I said. The system. Open the card. After opening the card, I was left convinced. There are mountains on 3 sides and the sea on 1 side. This place is ideal for the construction of the first city. Suddenly, Xiao dragged me back behind the rock. What is it? I asked. Your Majesty, don't speak so loudly, otherwise the black bulls will hear you. A little puzzled, I still decided to agree. Good. I'll be careful. Basic survival guide. Search for illustrations activation. Beep. Beep. The result of the scan. There are 3 types of plants. There are 2 kinds of animals. Plants. Green sunflower. A herbaceous plant, the root can be used as a medicine to relieve abdominal pain. Dragon whiskers. Liana. The juice is poisonous. It can paralyze a person. The tree of longevity. Deciduous wood, high-quality wood, has been growing for about 100 years. Animals. Gray squirrel. It feeds on nuts, the meat is juicy and tender. Wasp. The bite is toxic, 5 bites can be fatal. Having carefully read everything described by the system, I was surprised. Turning to Xiao, I asked. So where are those big black bulls you were talking about? Xiao looked out over the cliff in fear and pointed to one of the many groves spread out in the valley. They're right behind that grove. There's a big bend in the river there, I can take you there. Good. Everyone be on the alert. And we went after Xiao. Half an hour later. It's here. Hurry up, keep up. We are the king, but I'm afraid we will be discovered sooner. Listening to the surroundings, I was surprised. Isn't it quiet here? What's so scary about these bulls? I used the scan again. Recorded. Plants, 3 species. Small animals, 1 species. The directory update is completed. What? Is that all? I let out a sigh of relief. I'm worried that there might be worse monsters here, since there isn't even a single calf nearby. Xiao couldn't have been mistaken? Hey, Xiao, maybe you remembered wrong? But when I turned around, I saw a little guy walking backwards on the ground pointing somewhere behind me. What? Is the ebony moving? But Xiao quickly brought me back to normal. Hi. He shouted and pointed somewhere up. Looking up, I realized the complexity of our situation. Oh, shit. A huge humanoid with blue stripes on his body was walking just a couple of meters away from us. Damn. What is this? Mew. He let out a loud scream. He had huge horns on his head. The system, as always, prompted in time. A black horned bull. Mammal, Artiodactyl, a subfamily of cattle, mainly herbivores, with strong territorial awareness. And this is a fucking bull? While I was standing in utter incomprehension, the voice of the former leader of the settlement was heard from behind me. Your Majesty. His voice was shaking like never before. Are we really going to hunt these creatures? My voice wasn't too sure right now, but I answered anyway. Sure. Gathering all my willpower into a fist, I made the strongest possible face. Sit in ambush, and I'll go scout the situation. And I went straight behind the tree. King. He's so beautiful. It was heard from behind. Going behind a tree, my tears rolled onto my face. Whimper, whimper, I don't want them to die in vain. We need to come up with something. Right now, I can only rely on those 2 abilities. I thought looking at the so-called bulls. He's 3 times bigger than me. It is worth finding a calf to train on it. Looking at how a huge bull is loitering back and forth and making terrible noises, I involuntarily pressed myself into a tree. He looks very scary. And this is what they call bulls? Disturbing during meals is bad. Still, I found a small bull. This one looks the smallest. I'll try to negotiate first. Suddenly they have a complacent nature. Then you won't have to risk your life. Coming out into the light so that the calf would notice me, I applied all my diplomacy skills. Hello, brother calf. Are you eating weed? Delicious? Seeing me, the bull did nothing at first, but just watched. I smiled back at him and tried not to show aggression. He wasn't angry, was he? It seems that the plan was not very good. But as soon as I thought about it, the calf roared all over the clearing, so that even the birds rose from the trees. His blue plains turned into red, and naturally all the bulls began to look in my direction. Naturally, after a moment, the whole herd was already rushing at me. I was just asking. Don't jump on me right away. I shouted, first running away and then swimming away across the river. Why be so angry? Looking behind all this, my tribe was furiously discussing what was happening. Wow. He deserves to be our king. I decided to provoke the whole herd. He's not afraid of anything. Look, the king has reached the high wall. There's a dead end. What do you know? The king is going to surround them. However, my plan was completely different. Running up to the wall, I jumped first on one ledge, then on the next. But suddenly, hanging on one of the ledges, he began to shake. Hey! What is it? Looking down, I saw a herd of bulls beating against a rock. Several of them even lost consciousness. Apparently they braked late. Haha. If you can, come up here. It would be best to knock you out. Mew. Mew. They roared furiously. It seems that this rock will not withstand their weight. They won't get in here. The bulls stood for a while and then went home. Phew. I think I'm safe for now. When I get back today, I need to tell all the hunters about it and also give them weapons. But how do I get down now? Those raging bulls are waiting for me down there. There is only one way out. I will continue to climb up and I will go the roundabout way. At the same time I will record the view from above. After climbing to the top after some time, I was again surprised by the view that opened there. A valley surrounded by mountains and the sea. I'm going to build my city here. And then the empire. This game is just beginning. I firmly decided, looking at the horizon. My subjects were still watching the bulls. And why is the herd of bulls coming back? And where is our king? He wasn't trampled, was he? The former leader of the tribe started climbing the tree. No. I have to find a way to get the king's axe. Suddenly, my axe flew straight into the tree next to him. Ai! He cried out. And I slowly approached the tribe and began to speak. Shigu, you're a brave man. Do you want me to die? Hooray! It's the king. The whole tribe rejoiced. Shigu bent down, asking. My king. How did everything go? Are these bulls strong? Without paying attention, I said. I'm going to eat beef to replenish my strength. While saying this, I pointed to one of the bulls. Don't you want to try? But Xiao immediately objected. Forget about it. They cannot be defeated. And Shigu immediately confirmed it. Yes, forget it, they are too tough for us. Looking at them, I made the scariest face of all. And then he said in a terrible voice. Don't you understand me? You need to answer simply yes or no. Yes. Yes. The crowd shouted. Good. I said, taking out an axe from a tree. And then raising him above the ground, he added. Starting today, I will teach you how to create powerful weapons, as well as advanced hunting techniques. In 3 days, we'll deal with them. I announced solemnly. Good. Hooray! My tribe exclaimed. In the meantime, we are back to the old place. Ha! With one powerful blow of the axe, the tree was cut down. Wow! Dozens of eyes were watching me, and everyone was shocked by what they saw. King. This tree is not edible, there is no fruit on it, why did you cut it down? Shigu asked. Everything is very simple. I answered. This is the material for making weapons. Watch carefully how I do it, it will be useful to you in the future. To begin with, choose a wooden stick about 2 meters long. Sharpen one end. Voila. System alert. You have successfully invented a new weapon, Technology 1. Current characteristics. Physical form. 2. Power. 3. Dexterity. 2. Authority. 0. Technology. 1. Ownership. Missing. This is much better than the points for completing tasks. But I do not know what the technology is for. So, this is called a spear. It is used to pierce. Or else. After these words, I raised the spear to the level of my head and aiming threw it into a tree. Or to throw. The spear thundered into the tree, leaving small cracks on it. Wow. The eyes of many people shone. Well, something like that. Shigu examined the spear that had entered the tree. The king. This spear seems to be a very powerful weapon. Previously, we just picked them up, we didn't know that it was possible to make such a thing out of sticks. We want to try the king. I was plastered from all sides. Hey, calm down, you'll try everything. Shigu. I give this spear to you as the former head of the tribe. Thank you, king. So, make more spears, and then we'll start training. Less than 2 hours later, the camp was already filled with the sounds of training. Mostly it was sparring. Many stood with spears in their hands. Wow, what a long white and durable. I sparred with 2 guys from the tribe. So, attack. Nodding to each other, they simultaneously rushed to the attack. However, it was clear that they lacked practice with the spear. After several unsuccessful attacks and successful evasions on my part, I knocked out one and struck the blunt side of the spear into the chest of the second. Everyone froze. You're dead, I said. What? If the spear had a point, you would have already died. Who? The guy was breathing heavily. And then, sitting down on the ground, he said. The king is like a god, we cannot overcome him. That's because you don't know how to handle wooden weapons and still rely on brute force. The advantage of such a spear is its pointed tip, use it and aim at the enemy or prey. Skills require training, so now javelin throwing is more suitable for you. Approaching the stone, I drew a likeness of a target. See the target? After walking some distance away, I said. Stand here and throw the spear. Whoever gets there first will get a spear from me as a gift. I'm the first. Shigu shouted and swung his spear to throw. He threw the spear with force and hit the stone so hard that he pierced through it. Powerful, but we need to work on accuracy. The next hunter is Xiong. And while I was saying that, a spear fell right at my feet. Did you just throw that at me? Haha. My fault. Next. 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 Apparently these guys have no talent. I was in a hurry. However, as soon as I thought about it, the spear flew past me and hit the stone exactly in the center. Wow. The guys shouted. Straight to the center. Did you throw a gun? Yes. The guy in the dog hat answered. Did I win the king? That's right, keep it up. I said, handing him the spear. These 2 spears are yours now. Hooray. Suddenly, the monster girl that was sitting in the tree and watching screamed. The king. Trouble. A big beast is moving towards the forest. Everyone take your weapons. I commanded. Be ready for the battle. Careful, he's coming. Use this opportunity to improve your skills. Watch out. A huge overgrown boar jumped out of the forest. He was clearly in a bad mood and was rushing straight at us. Everyone listen to me. We will catch this beast. I said, pointing the spear in his direction. A huge creature jumped out at us. All attention. Surround him. On my command. I pointed my spear at the beast and charged straight at the beast. Stopped. The spear pierced his muzzle. This is a rare opportunity to practice. Guys. Throw spears at his vulnerable spots. Yes. The guys shouted and threw spears. The creature clearly didn't like it. It screeched off the spear I was holding it with. Damn. The spear broke. The boar was about to attack us, but a gun threw a second spear and hit him right in the eye. Why the boar retreated with a squeal. And he really has the skill. Shigu, guys, it's your turn. I exclaimed. And the spears flew at the creature in the same second. Meanwhile, Xiao sat on a branch directly above the creature. It seemed that the animal realized that it was in a desperate situation and decided to run away, right through me. But I was expecting this. Taking my axe out of the inventory, I cut off the boar's limb with a deft movement. Xiao. Your turn. Yes. The next moment, he threw himself off the branch and plunged his spear into the creature with all his weight. It was maturing. System alert. Attention. The monster got angry. He got angry. Dodge. I commanded. Save yourself. Shouted Xiao, who had been hanging on the monster's back all this time, holding only his own spear. He's attacking. The king. Don't go to him. Someone exclaimed. But I was already rushing towards the creature. Ha. Jumping, I raised the axe over my head. And after a moment, I delivered a sweeping blow. Dust covered the battlefield. The king. You're alive. Rather, we need to check. But as soon as the dust settled, they saw me standing on the monster. Don't shout like that. That the soul has gone to the hills? Ha ha ha. I'm here. You all did well. Today we will have a big feast. Hooray. Long live the king. Turning around, I saw Xiong lying on top of the monster, still clutching the spear in his hands. He groaned. Food. Cool. Xiong, give me your hand. I said, handing him mine. You're doing great this time. Thank you, king. I seem to have touched him to the core. A gun. I shouted. That's right, boss. This is also your merit. You will be able to go with me to all subsequent hunts, and I will also create a new weapon for you. Wow. A gun exclaimed and even jumped with happiness. After the battle, the rumor talked about different things. They say our king has the power of a god. He cut off the boar's head with one leap. Of course, the king could not have cut off the boar's head without my help, Shigu said. Meanwhile, an overgrown girl passed by them and carried a huge piece of meat. Oh, this piece of meat is so big. Give it to me. No. She replied. I specially left it for the king. The king. Eat up. Do you eat like this? I mean, right? Is something wrong? But you used fire, so why are you eating raw meat again? Ah, that's because last time we didn't have time to save the source of the fire. It turns out that the fire was accidental? Yeah. Bad. Fire is the beginning of human civilization. Scaring off wild animals, a safer and more comfortable existence, cooking. The subsequent development of civilization is inseparable from fire. They are even more behind than I thought. The realization that cooked food on fire is much tastier. I think I'll have to teach them how to make a fire. Come with me, I know a way. The tip that broke off will do, I said, noticing the broken part of the spear. Everyone over here. I'll teach you something else. I walked over to the split log and stuck a part of the spear in there. You need to add sawdust to the recess of the trunk and rub it with your hands. Like that, I said, rotating part of the spear. Be patient. Some time passed, and now, the first smoke, and then the fire. Hooray! Our king is God. People exclaimed. Who? Now there will be no need to eat raw meat. God of fire. God of fire. I want the whole world to know that the king has subdued the fire. Shigu shouted. No need. Shut your mouth. System alert. The technique is invented. Extraction of fire. Technology 10. Current characteristics. Physical form. 2. Power. 3. Dexterity. 2. Authority. 0. Technology. 11. Ownership. Missing. Wow, 10 points at once as a reward? It looks like accumulating technology points is easier than I thought. Only here I do not know what use they are. With these thoughts, I poked at the technology column. System alerts. Technology points can be used to identify rock paintings. Each time 10 points will be spent for identification. Exactly. Remembered. It was a reward for the mission. With the help of rock art, they communicate and transmit information. You need to spend technology points to understand the inscriptions. Really? The king? I found that this boar had signs of feeding. I assumed that there might be cubs nearby, so I spent time looking for them. And eventually I found them. The shelf quest has been launched. Domestication of animals. Task. Capture the cubs of the wild boar, make them livestock. Reward. A small treasure chest. Cookbook. Are you accepting the quest? Domestication of animals? Number 1? Perhaps this is a series of tasks. Looking at the text, I thought. A side quest has been launched. Pets. Task. Capture the cubs of the boar and make them livestock. Reward. A small treasure chest and a cookbook. Are you accepting the quest? Of course I accept. Xiong, take Dada and bring these piglets here. Good king. It will be done. And remember, I need them safe and sound. Be careful not to harm them. You have accepted the side quest Animal Domestication 1. Dada grabbed Xiong by the hand and rushed to carry out the order with shouts. You won't have time to blink an eye as we will be back. Looking at all this, I let out a relieved sigh. Well, before these two come back, we need to build a pigsty. Approaching the rest of the group, who were finishing dinner, I said. When you're done eating, come to me, I'll teach you something else. Of course the boss. Good. The sun was already setting below the horizon when the guys dragged piles of sticks to the place I indicated. Why did the king ask us to collect so many branches? Stop talking nonsense. How should I know? Approaching the place where the other guys were already sitting, they were surprised. Oh, are you back already? What are you doing? The former leader asked. The king said it was called a straw rope. Much stronger than a vine. You need to smooth out the straw in this way and then weave a rope and that's it, you're done. Ah, I didn't understand anything. Noticing that the firewood had arrived, I said. Shigu, don't stand there, bring everything here. Let's go. With a fair swing, I drove a flat wooden stick into the ground. And then another and another. Thus forming holes for the sticks brought by the guys. Come here. Take a branch that looks like mine and a rope. I started making the construction. Everyone must make at least 5 such wooden structures. Then, insert the assembled structure into the place I prepared. And then, tie them together with a rope. The connected sticks form a cage, and everything is ready. And then it remains only to carefully distribute the straw outside. System alert. A simple pigsty is built. It turned out well. Wow. Everyone present shouted. How cool. I didn't even have time to look back as everyone ran to the building. And then, pushing and almost fighting for a place, everyone climbed into the pigsty. I came first. Don't push it out. It was built by the king so that we could live here together. I want to have a baby with him. You're a man. Looking at all this, I had no choice. Fasipum. The pigsty was not built for you. The king. Meanwhile, Xiong and Ada came. The king. We brought piglets. There are 8 piglets in total. All of them were brought. Not bad. Now put these cuties in a pigsty. As soon as I said that, one of the aborigines jumped at my feet. Nuo. The king. How can you give such a good lair to these pigs? And then, the second one hugged me from behind. Yes, yes. We will finally be able to hide from the wind and sun in this nest. We all want to live there. We want a house too. Unable to stand the strain, I threw them away. Idiots. Ugh, how disgusting. If you want to live in a pigsty so much, then I don't care, but after we build a more comfortable wooden house, there won't be room for you there. They seem surprised. Really? Better than this nest? Then I don't want to live here. Let him live here. After that, the huge guy pointed at the smaller aborigine. No. I don't want to either. Let the pigs live there. He said, almost shaking with fear. All right, Xiong, take the piglets to the pigsty. Good, he said, and immediately carried out the order. Suddenly, a hunter in a wolf hat came up to me. King, aren't these pigs our food? Why should we care about them? Everything is simple. I answered calmly. Wouldn't you be happy if we could eat a lot of meat without going hunting? Would be? He answered with confidence. Only by raising them and giving them the opportunity to give birth to a lot of piglets, we will be able to live a good life. It doesn't matter if you don't understand something, just keep learning. Attention, system alert. The quest has been completed. Domestication of animals 1. Reward. A small treasure chest. Culinary Kriga. A pigsty has been created. Technology points +1. Physical form. 2. Power. 3. Dexterity. 2. Authority. 0. Technology. 12. Ownership. No. System. Open the reward. A small box opened, almost without a sound. You got a bag of salt from a small treasure chest. You have learned how to cook. Fried eggplant, fried peanuts, fried eggs, fried lamb, fried shellfish. A huge panel with dishes appeared in front of my face. Salt and recipes. Do I need to become a cook before science and technology begin to develop? Then another window popped up. Cooking according to recipes can unlock special rewards. And later I will pay attention to collecting a variety of ingredients and spices. Night came. Almost everyone was asleep. Only Xiong and I were sitting by the fire. Looking at this small but clever guy, I said. Xiong, you were injured during the day, and at night you had to be on duty for everyone. Thank you for today. The guy was sitting with his head down. Yesterday the king was caught because of me. And then he almost died. So I'm happy to help. It is clear that he was sorry. Hugging him in a friendly way, I said. Don't worry, I'm not the type to take revenge. And then he laughed. He also cheered up. Haha. Speaking of which, Xiong, I want to ask you something. And if there are tribes like ours here? Yes, I have. He answered and then paused, as if afraid. Only they're not friendly. And they don't look like us. They? Okay, tell me who they are, how many of them, and where they live. Sure. I know that 3 tribes live nearby. These are the tribes of the Coconut Grove, the Sea Bay and the Giant Rock. Although I said that they live not far from here, but in fact the distance is decent. To meet them, you need to go at least a day. 3 tribes, right? You can tell us about them separately and in detail. Yes, my king. The Coconut Grove tribe is closest to us. They live in the east, just a couple of dozen minutes walk south from the herd of black bulls. There are about 30 or 40 of them. They do not like to fight, they can travel long distances, and their leader is a woman who is not easy to contact. Next, the tribe of the Gulf of the Sea. There are also 30 or 40 people there, and they live in the south by the sea. They always look intimidating and constantly kill each other. The Giant Rock tribe is the most powerful tribe and has the largest number of people. They usually live in the mountains in the southwest, but sometimes they all come down from the mountains together. They say their leader has gained supernatural strength and can kill a tiger with his bare hands. It's better not to mess with him. I thought about it. If the information is correct, then the Coconut Grove tribe is most suitable for the first purpose. Relying on the fact that they are bizarre cannot be rude. We need to find a way to defeat them peacefully. What? Why is it so cold? The king, you are still awake. Suddenly there was a shout behind me. Do you want to do something interesting with me? No. I replied, making such a weird face as soon as I could. Nai. Meow. King, look, do I look like a cat? My face involuntarily tightened. Haha. Very similar. On the saber-toothed tiger. Well done. Reaching out with my hand to Xiong, who pretended not to see anything, I grabbed him and shouted as I ran away. Xiong wants to go to the toilet. I'm going with him. A few hours later, dawn broke. We sat down on a branch of one of the trees and waited. King. Xiong whispered. They came. Indeed, looking at the shore, I noticed two creatures. They were furiously chasing the bird. I'll kill you. One of them shouted. System notification. The dodo bird. Class. Birds. Squad. Pigeon-like. The name of the dodo. Specifications. Poor quality of meat. High egg production. While I was reading the system notification, the creature caught up with the dodo. I got you. Looking at all this, I turned to myself. We've been lying in wait all night. And finally they revealed themselves. Are they the tribe of the Sea Bay? Two men with strange skins stood contentedly with the loot in their hands. When suddenly, one of them shouted, pointing a sword at the other. Give it to me or I'll kill you. The second one hissed shrilly at the offender. SHHH. Get out. A fight broke out. These guys have well-developed limbs and a very simple brain. Judging by what you said earlier, there are about 30 of them. If we can attach them to ourselves, then the number of people in our tribe increases, and we will also be able to capture the dodo. But the king. Xiong said excitedly. Our people are half as many. We won't be able to fight them. This is really a problem. I agreed. However, if the weapon is advanced enough, then we can. In my head, I was thinking about a plan. First of all, it is necessary to get rid of the herd of black bulls. And then use new resources to create more powerful weapons and equipment. I looked at Xiong. We're going back. We still have a lot to do. Yes. He replied. A couple of hours later we returned to the settlement. The fire had already gone out there, and the guys were kind of dim. However, when they saw us, they cried out. The king is back. The king, Whimper, is back. Almost crying, they rushed to me. We have been looking for you for so long and already thought that you had abandoned us. It's good that you're back. I'm sorry, I made you worry. We need to do something else. Shigu, practice fighting with spears. I commanded. And he, like a brave soldier, stood at attention and answered. Yes, the king. Turning also to the guy in the wolf hat, I said. You're in charge of throwing spears. You only have 1 day to improve their skills. No problem, he said. Hey, guys, there's not much time, try your best. Suddenly I was approached. King. Dada was standing there, holding a huge sheet in her hands. Such leaves are most convenient to use when you walk around the big. Yes, I know. I said, looking at her. Thank you for your kindness, and now I want you to gather all the women. I need help. Now I need help with a wooden implement. First, find the stones, I will teach you how to make a stone axe. Understand? I understood the king. She shouted. I'll call everyone right away. After a while. King, look. I noticed Dada, who was carrying a rather large stone in her hand. How do you like this stone? Very good. Just right for turning. To begin with, place a rectangular stone on the grindstone and rub it. Make sure that the tip is like mine. Then tie it to a stick using a rope. So we made a stone axe. Wow. Everyone exclaimed. The king is magnificent. King, you are my god. System notification. You have successfully invented the technique of sharpening stone tools. Technology glasses. 1. Looking at this, I almost burned with anger. 10 points for the extraction of fire and only 1 for the grinding of stone tools? Nonsense. Okay, there's nothing to do. Follow my instructions. As soon as you do, bring it to me for verification. I had no time to move away from the place when Dada called out to me. King, look, I've done it. Look. Wow. I was genuinely surprised. An axe with 2 blades? You seem very talented. Grinning, she said. I remember that the king's magic axe looks the same. So I tried to make it. Suddenly the system menu popped up in front of me. A. System notification. You have fulfilled the conditions. Condition number 1. From Paleolithic to Neolithic. Check mark. Condition 2. Identify new talents among subordinates. Check mark. A hidden ability has been activated. Identification of talent. A hidden ability? Now, looking at Dad, I saw a small window in which it was written. Creating tools. It seems that the talent detection system allows me to find out what each person's success is. Creating tools should be Dada's talent. Why is the king staring at me? Cough cough. I cleared my throat. Make a stone axe according to the standard, I said. Today we have to make as many weapons as possible. Yes. The girls exclaimed. So another day passed. And at sunset, the 30th spear is ready. More than half was done by you. Dada, you're a great fellow. Handing me another spear, she asked. King, are the new ones better than the previous ones? Yes. You really have a talent. Suddenly I noticed the consequences of hard work. Hey, your hands? You've been sharpening spears and stones all day. Thank you, Dada. Oh, it's okay. As long as I can help the king, I'm ready to work hard. Suddenly, out of nowhere, other girls appeared. The king. Others are also injured. Don't you feel sorry for us? Blushing a little, I looked away. It's a pity. Thank you all. King, blow on your hands. Having thought over another escape plan. I exclaimed. 50 guns will be enough for us. Have a rest. I'm going to check the results of the guys' training. After that, I rushed towards the training place. Huh. They scared me. Suddenly, a scream was heard. Get ready. Let go. And. The next moment, a huge log was rushing at me, tied up on a rope. Damn. Dodging, I almost had my soul in my heels. Is that a moving target? And they're having a great time. Lan Guchu and Yuangshi won. Next group, get ready. I called the instructor to me. Ah, the king. You've come. It looks good. Shall we talk about today's results? Of course, the king. Today, everyone has achieved great success, they can already hit a moving target. Looking at the guy in the wolf hat, I noticed an icon. Owns throwing. Grinning, I continued to listen. Although Hai Zhujiao is strong, he does not throw very accurately. It was only when he teamed up with Shigu that he was able to show his talents. Although Luton does not like to talk, but he is the most diligent. He is also the very first to master the skills. The most amazing thing is that Lan Guchu and Yuangshi separately do not represent anything special. But as a team, they alternately throw 4 spears in a short time and hit exactly the target. Each time they manage to get the highest score. After listening to the instructor, I made a conclusion. Very good. It looks like tomorrow we will be able to fight with the Black Bulls. Are you sure, King? Sure. But just in case, I should take a secret weapon with me. A secret weapon? The instructor asked excitedly. I didn't plan to sleep that night. I still had things to do. I've taken up that very secret weapon. Taking an axe made today in my hand, I began to beat with it on a stone lying not far from the fire. Swing, kick. Huh. I didn't sleep all night, I wanted to finish. A few hours earlier. Secret weapon? Yes. See. It is necessary to select the black tops of the leaves. If you have wounds on your hands, do not touch the juice of the leaves. The system identified them as a natural paralytic. I hope the juice of this thing can paralyze those monsters. I thought, looking at the leaves. The king. I brought the spears. About. It's you, Dada. King, why did you dig a hole in the stone? Oh, it's a stone stupa. Soon you'll find out what it's for. System notification. You have successfully invented a stone mortar. Technology +1 glasses. Call the girls. Use a stone mortar and crush these green leaves and then smear the juice on the tip of the spear. The king. What should we do? One of the guys asked. We want to help too. To begin with, eat and rest. A big battle awaits us tomorrow. Good king. Great king. I didn't sleep until dawn. And even at dawn, I chewed meat, sprinkling it with salt. Fried meat is much tastier with salt. The king. Everything is ready. Dada exclaimed and threw me a spear. I successfully caught him, and after examining him, I said. The time has come. Women stay at home and protect the children. The rest of you take your weapons and follow me up the mountain. Long live the king. Now it's their turn to be afraid of us. A few hours later. The guys took up a position on the mountain and looked out for the situation. The king went alone as bait, isn't it too dangerous? Shigu calmly replied. The king is too strong. What danger could there be? Look. Xiong, who was sitting on top of the cliff, said. Everyone get ready. There seems to be some movement on the other side of the river. Shigu turned to the girls who went as squires. You must pass the spears in time. Especially from the sight of a gun. Don't let him go unarmed. The king took such a big risk, we can't make a mistake. Shigu stated firmly. 10 minutes ago. As then, I was sitting in the bushes and thinking. According to the latest experience, I will be able to run safely to the mountain. For reliability, it would be best to lure a young bull. Noticing this at the pond, I silently moved through the bushes in his direction. Huh. Just don't trip on the way, otherwise I'm finished. Gathering my thoughts, I threw a stone at the bull. And then he shouted. Hey, catch up with me. You're all shit. Suddenly, two more came out from behind the bull. Mew. Flashing red, they rushed at me. 3. Too much. But there's nothing to do. It will be risky. I thought, running as fast as I could towards the guys. Running up to the rock, I yelled. Shigu. Aim for the first bull. Focus on the attack. Everyone get ready. Shigu commanded. Attention. Drop it. All the spears hit exactly on target. The huge bull roared from his wounds. I jumped on a rock, as if I do it every day. A gun raised his spear. I'll hit the target. He said, and threw the spear straight at the bull's neck. He clearly didn't like this injection. And he fell to the ground. However, there were still two more. They hit the rock, just like they did then. But this time the stone on which I was hanging cracked. It's a bad thing. I thought when he began to fall away from the rock. But as soon as I felt the taste of free fall, someone's strong grip was felt on my arm. The king. Are you okay? I've got you. It was Shigu. Although I was grateful to him, but now was not the time for pleasantries. Attack them. Don't stop. I ordered. Until they die. Keep attacking. After they help me get in, Shigu commanded. That's it. Aim at the one on the left. King, are you hurt? Dada asked. Don't worry about me. Shigu did not stop commanding. Focus on helping Shig. Looking at it, a new icon appeared. Talent to lead troops. No wonder he commands so well. It seems he was brought up so that he became a commander capable of doing everything on his own. King. They don't look good. Woo. The bulls were clearly exhausted, some were completely immobilized. Wow, I didn't expect the anesthetic to work so quickly. Can't go on a rampage now, huh? Suddenly, Xiao screamed. The king. Other bulls are attacking too. Indeed, they were just crossing the river. Damn, it happened much faster than I expected. Most likely they were attracted by the scream. Don't panic, everything is going according to plan. Let's focus on attacking the three bulls from below, we can't let them escape. As expected, the poison slowed them down. Don't let them escape. Mew. The bulls were moaning and were already trying to crawl away from the battlefield. The paralytic did his job. We threw spear after spear. After all, the guys' training sessions were not in vain. All the spears hit exactly on target. Stop, I commanded. King. Now is not the time for feelings. Shigu stated in a serious voice. If we don't hurry up and finish them off, the other bulls are about to arrive. Looking at the horizon, I saw a herd of bulls crossing the river and was already approaching us. How many copies are left? I asked in a calm voice. With the ones you have in your hands, another 28 pieces. Dada reported. Xiong, how many bulls are approaching us? The scout sitting on the rock shouted. About 20. That's why we stopped. We have a limited number of copies. But if we give up, won't it be a waste of energy? A gun asked. A waste of energy? I took a look at the bulls that were lying almost unconscious. Ha. It's part of the plan. I wasn't originally going to bet such a small number of people against a whole herd of bulls. I said when I saw the silhouette of the biggest bull in the distance. The real war is just beginning. My goal is to kill their boss. As for the remaining bulls, they will scatter as soon as their boss is defeated. To lure the largest one, you need to use a bait. That's why these three must be alive. But you also can't let them escape. However, in the original plan, there should have been one bull as bait. To cope with 2 extra bulls, we have already used up a lot of copies. Suddenly, Xiong, who was sitting on a rock, shouted anxiously. That's it. Look towards the forest. As the king said, this is the boss of the bulls. It's not that huge monster, is it? Indeed, the bull's boss was just huge. 3 times bigger and bigger than an ordinary bull. And if the ordinary wool was brown, this bull king was decorated with black wool. Combined with the red mane, he seemed very intimidating. When he saw us, he took a deep breath and then let out a roar of incredible strength. Heck! The guys shouted. It was incredibly loud. So much so that even the rocks cracked. Careful! Xiong shouted. They are coming. And I noticed how everything became bulls rushed to our rock. Having accelerated, they crashed into it, which created a lot of new cracks. Hitting the mountain? Could they really have gone mad? Shiga asked. Damn. Looks like the boss isn't going to fight us personally. He just commands them from a distance. I said my thoughts out loud. Suddenly there was a distinct crunch. Hey! What a sound. Your mother. The stone wall cracked. Heck. Everyone go back and hide. But it was too late to command. I noticed how Dada was flying down on a huge boulder that broke off from the rock. The decision was made immediately. Yuangshi, let's save her. I shouted. Yes. And the two of us slipped down the cliff. And there are other guys behind us. Approaching Dada, I said. Get some rest. We will protect you. The guys who were standing in front of me had already put their spears forward and took a defensive stance. What should we do? Fight them? No sudden movements. Listen to the king's orders. Taking my axe out of the inventory, I calmly left the defense. It turned out it was their trick. Spread out. Various thoughts were spinning in my head. The case is rubbish. Most likely, the leader saw through my trap. I didn't expect him to have such a high intelligence. At the top, Shigu remained in charge. To all who remained. Take up arms. Protect the king. Don't do anything yet. I commanded. Focus on finishing off those who come running first. Suddenly the bulls froze, as if they had received another order. And then two of them rushed at us. The right one was taken over by a silent guy who had been training hard all this time. And it is clear that he was good. Almost instantly reacted by jumping out ahead of me, he threw his spear right on target, hitting the bull in the neck. He obviously didn't like it. Then, taking advantage of the moment, I rushed to him and finished him off with my attack. The bull almost fell right on top of me, but my partner picked me up. Meanwhile, a second bull was attacking Guangxi. He tried to throw a spear, but the bull managed to cover himself with his hand, so there was almost no damage. But Guangxi didn't give up. The bull flew straight at him, but when he got close, he was grabbed right by the horns, thereby opening up for the partner of the Guangxi, and received a spear in the neck. Get ready. Shigu commanded. Fire. And 3 more spears flew into the bull. He was smitten. Suddenly, the roar sounded again. All the bulls were looking warily in our direction. A short roar sounded again. And the bulls, looking around, backed away. Did they just get the order to retreat? It seems he decided to fight in person after all. What? Rain? As if by magic, the clouds thickened and a thunderstorm broke out. The Bull King. He was huge. Taking a deep breath, he concentrated the energy in his chest. Damn. Disperse. I commanded. Literally a moment later, the Bull King launched an energy beam in our direction. Your mother. Ricocheting off the rock, the beam went straight into the sky. What was that? A sound wave? The power of the roar? He inspires fear. Everyone lost their fighting spirit. Getting up from the ground, I shouted, I'll distract him on myself. And you hide, Dad. Good king. Everyone upstairs, wait for the signal. I told the guys. I said, pointing my axe at the bull. I'm your opponent. Mew. An enraged bull was rushing straight at me, pointing its huge horns. Taking a fighting stance, I hit his horn with my axe. The earth was cracking from our confrontation. But the collision did not last long. Raising his muzzle, the bull threw me back a few meters. And then swinging both front paws, he prepared to hit the ground. I decided to retreat to the rock. Noticing there a gap left by the sonic boom, I firmly decided. There. Starting to climb the gap, the bull still caught up with me. Hitting his head on a rock, he raised a huge cloud of dust. The king. My subjects cried out. But suddenly, the bull retreated. What's happening? Deciding that it was all over with me, the bull aimed at my subjects. Don't back down. But after all, we can only pierce his corns. The bull was about to sweep away my guys when suddenly he received a significant blow. It was the blow of my axe. Thank you, fat man. Thanks to you, the gorge appeared. This allowed me to hide there at a critical moment. At the same time, I was thinking the following in my head. Despite this, I still got seriously injured. Shigu. I commanded. Follow my orders. Kill him. Yes. Attack. The guys rushed into battle. They jumped on him in a crowd. But it seemed that this monster could not be stopped. One of the guys ran into the creature's horn and hung on his muzzle. The king. He shouted. I'm here. Jumping up, hit him in the face and freed a friend. The bull was clearly enraged. He used his beam again and hit the ground under him with it. Taking advantage of the moment, I slashed the creature right on the shoulder. The wound was quite deep. Shigu. Now. Aim for the wound. He shouted. Shoot. In the same second, 3 spears flew at the boss. Right on target. The damage was great. The creature staggered and then fell to the ground with a crash like thunder. Did we win? We won. The guys from the cliff shouted. Glory to the king. Approaching the creature, I involuntarily thought. Something's wrong. What are the other bulls waiting for? Why don't they run away? Suddenly, I felt a breath behind me. He was alive. And he went berserk. Heck. After being hit, I was thrown several meters away. As well as my comrades. With unprecedented fury, the bull looked down on us. Mew! He roared. Sending another wave of sound into us. Fortunately, I was conscious. Fuck. I was careless. I stood and waited for the next action from the boss. Suddenly, he took out one of the spears from the wound and threw it at me with unimaginable speed. I saw it coming. Is this the end? No. Am I, Chen Li, going to die here? But at that second, time seemed to slow down, and I managed to notice the silhouette of a muscular girl who ran out in front of me. She took the brunt of it. I stood stunned. Dada. It was her. Memories came flooding back to me. We managed to become friends over these few days. I was overcome by such anger, which had never been before. The thing that killed her was standing in front of me. Damn. I shouted. Fight me. System notification. Warning. The appearance of an unstoppable force. Warning. Warning. But I didn't care. I didn't notice, but my hands seemed to be wrapped in some symbols. They radiated light and were filled with power. Die. And then I swung my axe, from which a wave of strange energy appeared that cut the monster in half like butter. It seemed even he did not expect this from the one who scratched him. I cut him in half. It's like he's just a piece of butter. And then turning to the remaining bulls, he said. Come on. Who's next? The bulls were clearly not ready to confront me. Looking at their boss, who was defeated so easily, they hesitated. Die. I shouted frighteningly. And the bulls were seized with fear. Mew. They roared in fear, running away. Then my axe fell out of my hands. System notification. Attention. Warning. You're dying. Leaning on my axe, I was breathing heavily. It seemed that there was almost no strength left. Ka. Suddenly I coughed up blood. It was a bad signal. So the system wasn't lying. Consciousness was leaving me. The shouts of subordinates could be heard in the distance. The king. The king. But I barely understood what was going on. Coughing, I realized that my eyelids were closing. Warning. Warning. After a moment, I was already lying on the ground. Looking at the battlefield, I noticed her. Dada. With the last of my strength, I groaned. Get it. Medicine. After that, my eyelids finally dropped and darkness came into my mind. I lost consciousness. When I woke up, I saw a thatched roof and a woman's chest. What? Finally opening my eyes, I saw her. The king? Are you awake? Ew? I was lying on her lap. Obviously she spent a lot of time with me. This? A pigsty? Of course not, king. After you drove away the herd of bulls, we moved to this new land. And we built this hut for you. Lie down for now, I'll tell the others. Wait. I said, heaving myself up. Do you want to give me an order? Dada and Liu Tang. How are they? I asked hopefully. Sighing, the girl began to speak. When we found Liu Tang, he was barely breathing. However, he recovered quickly, and after he woke up all this time, he was standing outside guarding you. Dada is more injured, we had your magic medicine, so now she needs to rest and she will recover, the others are fine for now. Huh, I'm glad that everyone is fine. In 4 days, everything returned to normal. Ayu answered me smiling. 4 days? I was so surprised that I grabbed her hands. And? Yes. She answered confusedly. I hurriedly opened the quest menu. Settle down. A task. Help primitive people build homes, create a tribe and increase the number of people to 50. Term. 11 days. Hell, there's no time to recover. We can't waste a second, I thought. Ayu looked at me thoughtfully. It was in her eyes. Why is the king constantly looking at one point? I tried to get up. But suddenly a spark of pain ran through my whole body. Clicking my tongue, I added. Damn, it hurts. The king. Excited, the girl threw me. You need to rest well. You can't get up now. Now is not the time to rest. Call Shiga urgently. Just tell him I'm awake. Don't say anything else. I'll explain everything to you later. Good king. With that, she left. And I stayed with my thoughts. Now I have neither the fighting power nor the restraining force. And if it becomes known to everyone, then this task will not be so easy to complete. After opening the map, I continued thinking. Fortunately, after we drove away the herd of bulls, the tribe immediately moved. Looking at the terrain plan, I began to divide the territories into zones. Here you need to build a fence as soon as possible, then convert it into a wooden wall. Here you can place plots for planting and raising livestock. The king. Shigu has arrived. Let him open it from the outside. The king. This is Shigu. I'm glad you're all right. Shigu. I have an errand for you. Yes. Come closer and remember everything I say. Coming close to the tent, Shigu put his ear in its wall and then listened to my orders. Good king. Don't worry. I'll do everything. With these words, he ran away. No, that's not enough. This time I can't make a mistake like when hunting bulls. We need to clear the area. With these thoughts, I shouted out. Liu Tang. There's a task for you too. Yes. Go to the corpse of the bull king and bring his skull and skin, make sure you took everything. And? He looked surprised. And then his face changed first to horror and then to bliss. This, it's the king's divine weapon. After putting my axe out of the tent, I handed it to Liu Tang. It is obvious that with stone axes he will not be able to properly remove the skin. I will complete this task. He solemnly declared, brandishing an axe. Your Majesty, you'd better rest now. Au stated worriedly. No. I snapped. I just have a task for you. There's no one outside right now, you can come in. Yes. She said and entered the tent. I sent everyone away to give you an important secret assignment. I said solemnly and calmly. Then she immediately took off all her clothes. And declared. Your Majesty, I have been ready for a long time. What? What the hell are you undressing for? You've got it all wrong. After Au got dressed, she sat quietly on her knees in front of me. So, basically, I need you to help me put on a show. Play a show? She asked in surprise. I plan to send someone to negotiate with the Coconut Grove tribe. The goal is to convince them to join us. This is my order. But they have a lot more people, so they won't agree, right? She asked, looking at me thoughtfully. Exactly. Therefore, we must show them strength. Let them think that only agreeing to join is the right choice. I chose you for two reasons. Firstly, they are a matriarchal tribe. It will be easier for you women to communicate. Secondly, I raised a shaking, wounded hand. Only you know about my current state. That explosion caused me severe damage. Although the medicine stopped the deterioration. But to heal to the end, you need something better. Yeah. She nodded. So I have to look intimidating to intimidate the Coconut Grove tribe? After a moment's thought, she stared at me. I know what needs to be done, entrust this matter to me. The next day, Au and Xiong went to the Coconut Grove. We will be at Au's place soon. Although the Coconut Grove tribe doesn't like wars, I still think they shouldn't be provoked. Worried, Xiong glanced at Aya. She was wearing a tiara made of bull horns, as well as a brand new bullskin cloak. Good, good. She answered calmly. Be calm and lead us, leave the rest to me. And the king is really biased. Created such beautiful clothes for you. After a while, they were already sitting in the bushes and watching. So, it's there, look. Xiong said. A beautiful picture opened before their eyes. A small waterfall descended from the mountain, and several girls were swimming in the resulting lake. Au glanced at Xiong. You're well acquainted with this place. Ha ha ha. Look there. This is the one we were looking for. The queen of the Coconut Grove. A girl of incredible beauty stood at a distance from everyone. Her long ears and green hair crushed men's hearts. Awesome. Yes, she's a beauty. Appearances are deceptive. Xiong replied. They satiate several of her suitors. Did you eat it? Not happening. It's true. Meanwhile, we didn't even feel the followers of the grove sneaking up from behind. Pointing sticks at us, they shouted. Hey! Naturally we were caught. After a while we were sitting on our knees in front of the queen of the Coconut Grove. Your Majesty. We caught these spies. They shouted that they wanted to meet you. The magnificent but still naked queen sat before us on a stone throne. In her hands was a whip with spikes. We are ambassadors. Xiong shouted. These titles were bestowed upon us by the king. What? The queen asked in surprise. There is no such thing in you. Leave the woman as a slave and feed the man to the fish. From the piece of meat that they brought, make dinner. What? Xiong shouted. Au. Save me. Suddenly, Au plucked up the courage and spoke. I thought the Coconut Grove tribe queen was quite perceptive. Now I see that this is not the case. I was planning to give you the meat of a mountain bull. Suddenly the queen waved her whip. Wait. Let him talk. Grinning, she continued. You say you have mountain bull meat? Yes, exactly. Au replied with the same grin. A herd of black bulls lives in the north of the river. Clicking her tongue, the queen thought she had figured out the plan. So you want to attack the herd by joining forces? A satisfied grin did not leave Au's lips. Unite to attack them? Then how can you call it a gift? Don't underestimate people. That herd of bulls is not our enemy. The lands in the vicinity of the river have already changed hands. The crowd gathered to look at the spies suddenly whispered. Impossible. Did they scare off the bulls? We were almost trampled then. Suddenly, the queen rose from her throne. Putting her whip to Ai's neck, she said. Do you know what awaits those who lie to me? Without a drop of fear, Au continued. The biggest tank was slaughtered by our king. If you don't believe me, come back with us and take a look. Suddenly the girl who was standing not far from the queen said. Don't believe it. It must be a trap. A trap? Au suddenly asked. Keep in mind. Our merciful king can defeat your entire tribe. Suddenly, Xiong, who was almost thrown into the water, shouted. That's right, that's right. Not only do we not want to fight with you, but we also want to give you a gift. Our thoughts are sincere, what other doubts can there be? Of course. Au added sharply. If the queen is afraid to go by herself, she can send people to pick up the meat. Suddenly, waving the whip, the still naked queen said. You'd better not cheat with me. A couple of hours later, the queen was already walking in our company. Ahead. Xiong pointed the stick in the direction and then waved his hand. We're back. By the way, the queen still got dressed. Her outfit was mostly made of leaves and her head was decorated with an improvised wreath. Don't shout. Shigu answered loudly. Go help build a house. The king is waiting on the other side of the river. Yeah. Xiong nodded. Suddenly, the girl who was always next to the queen whispered in her ear. Your Majesty, what does it mean to build a house? Judging by the look in the queen's eyes, she herself did not guess. Au escorted them on. We came. King. They have arrived. She solemnly declared. A massive tent decorated with bull boss horns and many other attributes appeared to their gaze. It looked intimidating. And the queen felt something. A strong murderous aura emanates from this hut. This guy. He looks like a huge beast. And really, they did a good job on my costume. A crown of horns, various armor attributes, and a hide added to my murderous aura. And also a throne made of bull bones. What could be better? Thank you. I said it as rudely as I could. Suddenly, an exclamation was heard from a tent nearby. Fortunately, they didn't suspect anything. The wounded were sitting in the tent. The king ordered all the wounded to hide here so that we would not be seen. Can you be more careful? I'm just curious what the queen of the coconut grove looks like. Cough cough. Clearing my throat, I drew attention to myself. So you're from the coconut grove tribe? But the girl who was near the queen interrupted me. Where is the bull meat you were talking about? I calmly pointed with my hand. Behind the tent. You can take as much as you want and as much as you can carry. Shifting their gaze, they finally noticed the corpses of bulls lying there. Not far from them were just two of my guys, and they were butchering meat with stone axes. The girls headed towards them. Seeing them, one of the guys said. These belong to you, so take them yourself. But after trying to cut off the meat with their bone knives, the girls failed. The knife broke on the tight skin of the bulls. Looking at this, the guys couldn't help laughing. What are you laughing at? The queen's assistant asked angrily. You must be lucky to get right in the middle of a bullfight that has arisen, and that's it. What an insult. Do you want to fight, girl? He said, whipping out his axe. But suddenly, with incredible speed and a blue trail, something flew out of the tent. Having cut a piece of meat between the quarreling, my axe plunged into the ground. What? Which one? The queen was in shock. What kind of weapon is this? Our bone knives are no match for him. Use my axe and help them divide the meat. I commanded. The king. They provoked us first. Why on earth should we? But I looked at this poor guy with anger. And then he said. Shut up. Follow my orders. Clicking his tongue, he still agreed and began to carve the meat. Okay. I've given you permission to take as much meat as you can carry. Said done. These are my principles. The queen said in surprise. Barbarians and noble. How did you overcome a herd of bulls? My answer depends on further development. Whether it's mutual understanding or personal experience. That's it for today, Queen of the Coconut Grove. Take the beef and leave. The queen snorted resentfully. An indifferent pig. Meanwhile, my thoughts were filled with another problem. I'm overdressed. If it wasn't for the bullskin bandage, the wound would have started to bleed. Damn. Blood flowed. Fortunately, the queen is distracted by a conversation with Au. That's right, we'll give you some of our stone axes. Although they are no match for the king's divine axe, they are suitable for butchering meat. But the queen only snorted. No need. It doesn't look elegant enough for us. We also have powerful weapons, but we don't put them on display. I hope I won't have to use it on you, all the best. Take what belongs to us, she told the girls, we're coming back. Good. Au added. If this is not enough, you can come again, but the sooner the better. After all, we will share it with other tribes. Come again. She threw it after them. After moving some distance from the camp, the queen stopped. Have you checked everything? She asked. Suddenly, more girls jumped from the trees. Reporting, said one of them. We found out from the buildings, the so-called houses. Perhaps there were piglets inside, we accidentally heard grunting. Pigs? The queen was surprised. Did they build such a nice pig house? Moreover, the scout continued. They also mastered the divine power of fire. It can't be. Even more surprised, the assistant said angrily. We saw with our own eyes how they got a fire out of nowhere and fried beef on it. What? The queen was clearly surprised. Only. The speaker was quiet for a moment. Just what? Don't hesitate to tell me already. There are only 10 of them. The others are several children and one old man. I doubt they deliberately hid the rest of the tribe. Why didn't you make a thorough search? Because trees were cut down in the area. We couldn't hide in the open. So we watched hiding in the woods. The queen snorted with displeasure. After walking a little, she took out her whip and hit the scout several times. If you dare to look for excuses again, you will not get off with simple lashes. Thank you, Your Majesty, for not expelling us. Meanwhile, in my settlement. Who? I sighed heavily. The king? How are your wounds? Au asked. Ah, that's better. This bovine skin has a high regeneration, for sure it can gradually heal my wounds. It's very good. She said smiling. Looking at Aya, I noticed a notification icon. Talent activated. Eloquence. Eloquence means a rare talent. Looking at me, she was embarrassed. Oh, compared to the Coconut Grove Queen, the king loves me more, right? It's not like that. I shouted in embarrassment. Phew. Even the walls have ears. Tell those who were hiding to come out and then come back and help me heal my wounds. There were traces of blood on the throne. Please clean up before Liu Tang comes and don't let anyone get close. Good. Au answered meekly. The king. You're so handsome. She said, playfully sticking out her tongue. I turned away in embarrassment and cleared my throat. That's all for now. Meanwhile, Xiong came running. The king. The king. You are so amazing. They really put people around the camp. What about my errand? Of course I did everything. What they should have seen, they saw. What they shouldn't have, they didn't see. Phew. I sighed calmly. Very good. You did a great job today. Thanks. Xiao responded. Then I went to help Shig with the construction of houses. King. Au turned to me. Will the Coconut Grove tribe really want to join us? It's too early to draw conclusions now. The plan is only half completed so far. The next time they come to us, we can proceed with the second part of the plan. I said with a chuckle. Damn, I'm tired. Messing up in my tent, I analyzed the system data, opening an interactive window in front of me. A task. Settle down. Help primitive people build homes, officially create a tribe, and increase the number of people to 50. Term. 11 days. 11 days, I repeated. This time will not even be enough to recover. Open the warehouse. I commanded the system. The warehouse is open. Basic knowledge of the language. Basic survival guide. Basic cookbook. Universal card. A healing potion, for one person. A small bag of salt. Battle axe, information update, Pangu axe. An unread message. Damn. The first words that came to my mind after I took the axe out of the warehouse. What happened? He's changed. Strange markings were now etched all over the contour of the blade. What happened to my battle axe? When did he manage to turn into a Pangu axe? Has this axe turned into an artifact? Why didn't I notice it when I gave it to Liu Tang in the morning? Summoning the axe again, I noticed the inscription. A legendary weapon. Axe Pangu. Oh. The system has issued a new window. Characteristic. Combat. Activation condition. A blood sacrifice. A hidden skill. After unlocking the creation skill, the user's power will be exhausted and the user will be harmed. Destructive power is related to the user's remaining physical strength. A blood sacrifice. I repeated aloud. Did the blood I accidentally spilled on the axe activate this powerful skill? Judging by the note, the creation of the world should be used in the right place and at the right time. Neither sooner nor later. Otherwise, I may not just have a scar on my arm. Huh. I sighed heavily. Raising my battle axe, I began to examine its golden patterns. I didn't expect that weapons could evolve. After thinking about it, thoughts just popped into my head. I don't know if the rest of the weapons have the same hidden skills or properties. After looking at the axe enough, I put it aside. Okay, in any case, the activation conditions are not regular, it all depends on fate. The axe alone almost killed me. We need to be more careful. Let's see what's left. The healing potion turned out to be extremely useful. It's a pity that there's only one left. I'll leave it for a critical moment. Suddenly I remembered the coconut grove. The meat they took should be enough for 2 days for 30 people. The remaining time is 11 days. Time is limited, so Xiong will have to work hard. With these thoughts, I looked out of the tent. Liu Tang. Call Xiong. I have a secret mission for him. Yes. After a while, Xiong was already running to me. The king. Sitting down on one knee and bowing, he said. Reporting, Hunter Xiong has arrived. Do you remember the herd of black bulls that we drove away? You have 2 days to find them and report back to me as soon as possible. Rely on me. He shouted already on the run. I sat down on the straw bed again. Everyone has made a big contribution these days. Why not take advantage of these 2 days and prepare small gifts for everyone? 2 days have passed. Xiong was running around looking for bulls, but I did what I planned. Sighing, I opened the system menu. The task is to settle down. 9 days left. That's enough for today. I said, putting the makeshifts aside. System notification. A stone tip was produced. Technology +1 glasses. A bone whistle was produced. Technology +1 glasses. A drinking horn has been produced. Technology points +1. I'll give a bone whistle to Shig. So that it would be much more convenient for him to command the battle or during the hunt. These stone spearheads can increase the lethality of spears many times, but if we fight with the Coconut Grove tribe, the spearheads can increase the percentage of victories by several points. I'll give a drinking horn to Xiong, I think he'll like it. An exclamation distracted me from my thoughts. The king. Good news. And? I looked in surprise in the direction of the voice. It was Au. The king. Our house was completed. Clearing my throat, I was surprised. Calm down and take me to see. The king. If you feel unwell, please put on this raincoat. With these words, she handed me a cape made of bullskin. Yeah, I nodded obediently and smiled. Thank you for reminding me. Carefully wrapping me in a cloak, she said. I'll help you put it on. The king is working so hard, let me do this for you. Thanks to I. The smile did not slip from my face. Well, let's go watch. Yes. We headed in the direction where the construction was being carried out. When we came to the place, Au loudly proclaimed. Make way. I brought the king. Shigu met me first. The king. You've come. Look. This is the house that we built according to your instructions. And? I was surprised. Look. Shigu repeated, pointing to a slightly crooked and not very neat building. Its roof was slightly knocked down, but what to expect from people who heard the word house quite recently? Well, how? Shigu shouted, raising his hands to the sky. Is it beautiful? We'll go. I answered, hiding my emotions. I don't want the guys to be offended, but it's far from the house that I imagined. Hooray! Everyone exclaimed. We have a home. No more sleeping in caves and looking for branches. The pigsty is really suitable only for pigs, and this is the house in which we should live. Yes. Bringing a semblance of a door, but still just shutters, Shigu said. We also made this straw door. Now everything is ready. After these words, he inserted it into the passage of the house. System notification. You have successfully built a wooden house. Technology points +10. Physical form. 2. Power. 3. Dexterity. 2. Authority. 0. Technology. 27. Ownership. No. Building a house costs the same amount of points as building a fire? But if you think about it, this backward tribe has changed a lot since I came. Initially, they drank blood like beasts. Now it is more and more obvious that their characters and abilities have changed. Is it due to the imperceptible influence of the system? Or is it accelerating evolution? Having seen enough of the satisfied clansman, I turn to I. As soon as Hunter Xiong returns, don't forget to tell me as soon as possible. Very well, Your Majesty. Then I'll go. Let the rest continue building houses, because soon a lot of people will live in them. Already heading to my tent, I suddenly heard screams. The king. Found it. Found it. Panting and coughing, Xiong was coming towards me, shouting. I found them. Well done, Xiong. Finally, the second part of the plan can be implemented. Without further ado, follow me. Shigu. I added. Come here, there is a separate task for you. After the two sat down opposite me, I told them my plan. Who has any questions? Will this plan work? Asked Shiga and added. It's a little unfinished. Calmly. Xiong replied. I can finish this assignment. When the time comes, take more people with you. I suddenly remembered my homemade crafts. Shigu. Take this whistle, you can use it for orders. Thank you, King. There's a gift for you, too, Xiong. As soon as you finish the task, I'll give it to you. All right, he said, that's enough. Glory to the king. And remember. As soon as you receive my signal, proceed immediately according to plan. I said insidiously. The guys went on a mission. Everything is going according to plan. It is very difficult for them now, so they will have to give the wounded work. Tell Dada and Yuangshi to build a bonfire in front of the house, but don't light it. Is this for the guests who will be arriving soon? Yes. That's exactly how it is. Now let's look at the bait released 2 days ago. Will I be able to catch this big fish? After a while, a crowd of people came out of the forest. Wow, there are so many people, this is the Coconut Grove tribe. Bad business. We need to report to the king urgently. Your Majesty. The people of Coconut Grove have arrived. When the girl noticed the grove, Ayu was taking care of me in the tent. The king. Your wounds are recovering, but you can't move much yet. Good. Meanwhile, everything was wonderful in my thoughts. Oh, how nice it is when others take care of you. I can't wait to subdue the Coconut Grove tribe. A selfish chuckle escaped my thoughts. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. Let us in. The Coconut Grove tribe has arrived. The fish took a bite. Bring them here. Ayu came out to greet the guests. It's been a long time since we've seen the queen. You have become even more beautiful since the last meeting. Come in, the king, our king in the royal palace has been waiting for you for a long time. The royal palace? The queen asked in surprise. But in her mind she thought otherwise. Last time there was a hut made of straw and bullskin. And now the house is made of wood? How did they do it? Her slack jaw spoke for itself. Huh. Is your king afraid to come out to me? In order not to bother you again, this time we will take more meat. These people who came with me just wanted to meet new kind neighbors. Therefore, a lot of people came. I hope it didn't scare you? Don't worry. Ayu replied with a smile. The king has already ordered us to prepare beef for 40 people, so you can go get it right away. Only, it seems you are not 40. After these words, she chuckled slightly. The queen approached I and decided to make an offer. Do you care so much about my people? How about serving me? I have long been conquered by the power of my king, thank you for your kindness. Beef is in the same place as before. What you can take with you, eat here. This is also the king's order. If you are uncomfortable butchering meat, our warriors can also do it for you. Not worth. The queen refused. Yes. Queen. Her companion confirmed. Come in. I said it loud enough to be heard outside. Opening the door, the queen stepped into my chambers. Welcome to the queen of the Coconut Grove. At first she turned her head and looked around. She obviously likes the wooden house. Very noble. Is this your royal palace? It looks fine. Meanwhile, my thoughts were filled with her reaction. Very well, it seems she is interested in the technology of building houses. You can continue to lure. It's just a temporary palace. I said with a grin. As soon as the real royal palace is rebuilt, subordinates will be settled there. Will you allow subordinates to live in such a place? The queen asked in surprise. Only grinning more, I added. Ah, this is really a miserable dwelling. Later they will live in a stone house, which is much better than this. Suddenly the queen grabbed the whip and expertly wrapped it around my body. I was tied up literally in a matter of moments. Your mother. The queen approached me with her foot on my throne. What is this girl doing? I can see everything. Is she going to kill me? Approaching me, she put a knife to my throat. No one knows men better than me. I have a way to make you these rare things. Voluntarily give it to me." I could see it on her face. "Brat, how do you like that I grabbed you?" But I was thinking of something else. "Damn." Calmly. "It's too exciting. You need to control yourself. Do you think you can force me to obey this way? Do you think I'm not being overly cautious?" Suddenly, the door opened and Aya looked in and immediately reported. "The king. Everything is ready. You can start the banquet. They will see this scene," she said awkwardly. "The king? Are you?" The queen freed me. And clearing my throat, I said. "Well, we're done talking, let's all go eat roast together. Have you lit a fire?" I asked Aya as if nothing had happened. The queen stood and thought. How can he be so cold-blooded after I threatened him? Is he really being overly cautious or is he just not afraid of death? The guys in my tribe are weak, but he's not like them. We went outside, where a bonfire was already blazing. And my tribe and the tribe of the Grove sat and enjoyed its warmth and delicious beef. The queen. "Come here. It's very tasty. We fried you too." Looking at her satisfied subordinates, the queen was also delighted. I decided to finish her off. "Give them some salt." With these words, I handed Aya a bag of salt. "Hey. This jewel, what makes the taste of food incredible?" "Good," she said. Handing a little salt on a leaf to the girls, she said. "Sprinkle it a little, the taste will be much better." "Thanks." Without a drop of disbelief, they accepted the salt. The queen was also interested. "Hey, what's this? If you're afraid, you don't have to eat, your majesty." But the girls' exclamations only whetted the appetite. "It's very tasty. So much tastier. Why, I'll eat another 10 pieces." I was watching. Eat, it's better to buy some time for Xiong and Shigu." After taking a bite, the queen was surprised. "Yummy," she said. "Delicious." At the same time, Shigu and the guys took a position near the bulls. "Don't we have more beef than we can eat? Why do we need to hunt a herd of bulls again?" One of the warriors asked. "What do you understand?" Cut off Shiga. "We're not here to hunt this time. Just follow my orders." "Yeah." Smoke from the campfire came from the settlement. "The king has given us a signal." Shigu whistled into the scroll, giving the command. And all the warriors threw their spears at the bulls. Shigu shouted. "Hunter Xiong. The herd is heading towards you. You only have one chance, so be sure to find their new boss. Calm down. I've already found it." After these words, Xiong jumped down from the tree and thrust his spear right into the back of the new boss of the bulls. He roared in anger. "Ha! I did it. This bull is mine." Mew. The herd was running after its leader, on whose back Xiong was hanging, grabbing the spears stuck in his back. "Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. I can do it," he encouraged himself. The bull tried to throw him off in various ways, he kicked and crashed into trees, but Xiong held on. A pathetic attempt. "Even your old boss was just our prey." A gun carefully monitored the situation. "Damn. The herd is moving east." Shigu blew his whistle even harder. Xiong clearly heard the signal. "Heck. We're running the other way. So why did you turn the wrong way?" Then he pulled on the spears, directing the bull in the right direction. And a window appeared next to him. Ability. Riding. Mew. The bulls were running in the right direction. The plan was beginning to take effect. Meanwhile, our feast continued. The queen ate and ate. "If I eat so much, I'll get fat. But it's so delicious." Taking another bite, she almost cried. All residents of Coconut Grove liked the taste of fried meat. I looked at the billowing birds on the horizon. "It's coming soon," I thought. And I'm not the only one who noticed it. The girl who was with the queen was also looking in that direction. At the same moment, another girl from the grove ran out of the forest. "The queen? There's a man from the camp." "What?" the queen said in surprise. The girl who was running, seeing the queen, began to scream. "Trouble. Queen, trouble." Tripping, she fell right at the feet of her master. "What happened if you came running in such a panic?" Almost through tears, she reported. "A number of crazed bulls invaded our territory and began to rampage. Those who stayed in the camp will not be able to resist them." "What?" the queen shouted furiously. "We return immediately." "Move faster," she shouted. "They will pay with their lives." "Damn it, we didn't interfere with the bulls." So what finally happened? At the same time, the bulls smashed the Coconut Grove camp in full. The wounded were lying here and there. Many took shelter in the trees. Used slingshots to attack them. Fire. A hail of stones rained down on the bulls, but it didn't seem to bring results. Damn. These slingshots are useless against their thick skin. You'll have to fight hand to hand. Let's save our sisters. 3 girls armed with knives rushed at the bull. For the queen? They shouted. But for all their determination, the bulls could not be defeated with bone knives. The bull threw off all 3 of them without any problems and was going to finish off those who were still moving. Swinging, he was about to strike when suddenly a whip entwined his arm. Is that it? The queen is back. Grasping the whip with both hands, she restrained the bull. I will not allow harm to my people. You're a raging bull. Your opponent is me. With these words, she threw the bull away and he fell to the ground. But it only seemed to infuriate him. When he got up, he became even more furious and rushed at the queen. How fast? Before she could dodge to the end, the queen received a small but strong blow and she was thrown away. Fortunately, I arrived in time. Catching the queen in my arms, I asked, "Are you okay?" "I'm fine." Panting, she answered. "Take a rest, leave the rest to us." Me and my guys arrived in time. The queen was in shock. It's a herd. I don't know why they got so mad and came here. Be careful. Standing in front of their boss, I screamed. Hey motherfuckers. The danger has passed and you have already forgotten about caution? I clashed in the battle of auras with their current boss. Mew. He roared furiously. Damn it. Didn't you recognize me? Why weren't they scared when they saw the Bull King's leather cape? But as soon as I thought about it, the color of the bull changed to blue. I breathed a sigh of relief. Okay, he was scared. You can continue. What a coincidence. I shouted, pointing the axe at the bull. We met again. How quickly you found a new king. But you're still a long way from being the same. Mew. It seemed the bull was shaking with fear. I continued. Since we came here. Stay here. After my words, the guys armed with spears and torches rushed into battle. Shigu commanded. Xiong. Let's take care of the Bull King. Yes. After that, Shigu folded his arms and Xiong was able to push off from them. By jumping straight at the Bull King. Grabbing his horns, the sign reappeared. Writing. The bull was confused. But Xiong completely guided his movements. A fight broke out. Queen, we should leave. No. She snapped. The herd has not been driven away yet, I have to join the fight. She was about to leave, but I grabbed her arm. Don't go there. Let me go. You will not be able to cope with these monsters. I interrupted her. I didn't take many people with me. Going there is like certain death. The queen quieted down. She clearly understands this. It's better to send people to me to heal their wounds. And then you can come back here right away. I will provide you with houses, food, and also guarantee your safety. It is clear that she hesitated. You need to finish. Look at your subjects. I pointed to the broken and wounded people and added. They are not able to fight anymore. Au added fuel to the fire. Would you really prefer to watch them die in vain? The queen has made a decision. Raising her hand, she screamed so that everyone could hear her. The people of Coconut Grove. Everyone affected, retreat to the north. The plan is working. The plan worked. Attention. Everyone retreat. The warriors of the grove shouted. Faster. Wounded, go ahead. Watching this, I gave an order to my advisor. Aya, I leave the queen to you. Take everyone to the camp so they have a good rest. I'll stay with Shigu and the others to buy you some time. Yeah, she nodded to me and added. Your Majesty, take care of yourself. Meanwhile, the battle is not over yet. The enraged bulls fought fiercely with my warriors. At this moment, the remaining warriors on their feet ran up to the front, to their leader. Girls. Take courage and kill them. They decided to join the battle against the bulls. Hearing this, Shigu turned around. Hey. This group of monsters is on us, if you are milked, you should retreat with everyone. But his gesture was ignored. A crowd of girls with knives rushed past him on the way to their goal. I went up to him and said. They are very brave, Shigu, we will not lag behind either. Yes. He nodded affirmatively as he watched the girls fight with the bulls. Attack. He shouted. The battle continued. The sun was already setting when the Coconut Grove refugees arrived at the camp. They were met with questions. Are you back? And where is our king? Au hastily replied. The king and Shigu stayed behind. There are a lot of people who have been injured, they need help and rest. That's how? Pointing to the houses, the girl said. There should be enough space for everyone, make yourself comfortable. But in her head she remembered how, thanks to Dada and other wounded who endured pain, they managed to build these houses in a hurry. Then she gathered all the survivors and they went for provisions and water. It was necessary to urgently help the victims. There were no objections, on the contrary, all the survivors were ready to help. Au brought the queen to her house. "Stay here," she said, "food and your safety are guaranteed, so please don't worry." "Yeah," the queen nodded. Entering the house, she sat down on a kind of bed made of hay. Au also added, "I'll take care of the others too, don't worry, your majesty." "Thank you," she replied. "Phew, in general, everything is going well." Au exhaled. Thoughts of the day when the king told her the plan of action scrolled through her head. The essence of the whole plan is to use the lowest costs to achieve the goal. And the goal is to conquer the Coconut Grove tribe and join them to us. After all, we have just finished the hard battle for the valley, we cannot bear the exhaustion. Au said with trepidation. As expected from the king, the plan is great. There's not much left. A little later, everyone returned safely to the camp. Day 2. Dada approached the guard. "I ordered a guard to be posted so that the residents of the grove would be calmer, because now it is important that they feel safe." Looking at the guy yawning, Dada asked, "Well, how? Everything is fine?" "Yes," he replied. "Everything is fine, I was on guard all night, nothing happened." Then she went to the queen's tent. The queen's first assistant was also standing guard at the entrance. "Good morning," Dada said to attract attention to herself. The assistant almost fell to the ground from the sight of a huge girl. She was just in shock. "Heck!" she shouted. "What are you doing here? Our king has invited the queen to the palace, and it seems he wants to discuss something important with her personally." "Hey, good," the guard answered. At the same time in the palace, I was sitting on the throne looking at the system menu. The main mission. Settle down. Help primitive people build their homes, officially found a tribe, and increase the population to 50 people. There's time left. 8 days. Damn. There is less and less time. Knock knock. There was a knock on the door and a second later it swung open, letting sunlight into the room. 2 silhouettes could be seen in the open door. "King, I have brought the queen," said Au. Upon entering the palace, the queen immediately spoke. "I've heard subordinates talking about the merger of tribes. If this is true, then my answer is don't even dream. Don't think you can force me by taking advantage of my tribe's temporary weakness." I noticed how her hand fell on the handle of the knife, so I hurriedly began to speak, making my voice as serious as possible. "This is not a compulsion, but a deal." "Huh?" The queen seemed confused, she wasn't ready to hear it. And I continued. "I can teach you how to build houses, make weapons, and light fires." With these words, I took out the spear that was on my back and stuck it into the ground right in front of me. In return, the Coconut Grove tribe will be merged with my tribe. As I got closer to her, I kept talking. "Accept my orders and protection. In some things, relying only on courage is useless, and sometimes even stupid. The cruelty of the Sea tribe and the strength of the Mountain tribe, you know this better than me. You're like a wounded deer right now. Bloodthirsty beasts will follow your bloody footsteps and find you. And then they will certainly kill you." "Enough," the queen shouted. "Enough. It's not that simple," she said, lowering her head. "I cannot convince my people to accept the authority of a stranger. Only if..." She quieted down. "Only if what?" I asked. "Unless a fair fight is won. This is the only way to convince them. Are you ready for the challenge?" A smile appeared on my face by itself. The smile of a man who feels victory. "Certainly," I answered immediately. After a while, all the people were gathered near the palace, and I began to speak. "Since your queen is injured and can't fight, so that everything is fair, I won't take part in the battle either. Shigu will fight for me." Having fished out his axe, he raised his hands just like in wrestling and shouted. "Haha. Then which one of you will fight me?" The queen's bodyguard appeared from the top. "Ain, accept your challenge." "Wow, so it's you, the girl with pigtails. Be careful not to get hurt." "You talk a lot," she replied. After these words, Shigu rushed at his opponent, brandishing an axe, he flew like a wild beast. The girl retreated and evaded. She was incredibly agile. Jumping up, she threw the knife towards Shigu. In Shigu's head. A tiny knife? What is she trying to achieve? Wait a minute. The king is behind me. If I dodge? How dare you cheat, dirty girl? Huh, although if you can't dodge, then you need to fight back. With these thoughts, he put the blade of his axe under the blow of knives and beat it off without any problems. After that, he beat off the second knife, already with his bone helmet. "It's over," he shouted, swinging his axe. when suddenly, a stone flew into him, from which Shigu lost his balance. He screamed as he fell. Someone intervened. It's not fair. Ayan took advantage of the moment, grabbed a knife and rushed in my direction like lightning. No doubt she wants to kill me. I saw her flying at me armed with her knives. Her killing intent could be felt from afar. Fortunately, I had nothing to worry about. It's not for nothing that I overreacted. My best javelin thrower was sitting on the roof of the palace, and he had already thrown a spear at her. As you know, he does not miss. I expected such an outcome, and apparently so did the queen. The spear pierced through Ayan and she fell to the ground. The inhabitants of the grove ran up to her in a hurry, threatening me with knives. You murderers. They were shouting. You set a trap, brought us here with an insidious plan. Taking out their knives, they all looked in my direction. The queen. Order them to be killed. I tried not to show it. But there was a little panic in my head. Damn. The murder was not included in the plan, they want to provoke a conflict. What matters now is whether it was the queen's order, or did they decide everything on their own? If the queen has decided so, then all that remains is to take her hostage. But all my thoughts were dispelled by her scream. Stop it immediately. Did you think that you could deceive me? To use such mean tricks against our friends? Have you forgotten who helped you? I don't want to find out who was involved in this murder plan. But this fight, we lost. Then, the queen turned to me and said, Ayan is the best warrior of the Coconut Grove tribe. If it wasn't for me, she would never have given up dignity. I know that you have great power, including supernatural. Suddenly, she fell to her knees and added, if you could save her life by taking into account her inherent loyalty and bravery, the Coconut Grove tribe would be immensely grateful to you. I stood and thought. Fortunately, this is still not the worst outcome of the situation. The steering wheel is in my hands again. The last portion of the restorative potion remained. It took me a minute to think, then I gave my hand to the queen. Okay, I'll save her. We're friends. The queen took my hand. Thank you, she said softly. Please hurry up. The girl beside Ayan shouted. She's dying. Looking at her, I thought. Based on the general situation, for the sake of the general situation, I will forget about this situation, but there is a small punishment. It is not necessary for her to recover immediately. This dose of medicine will be enough to save her life. I'll spend the rest to treat my own wounds. With these thoughts, I poured some of the medicine directly onto her wound, which caused it to heal instantly, and the girl came to her senses. Take her inside, let her rest. She will be able to fully wake up in a few days. I said, and turned to the queen as if nothing had happened. She was in shock. She had no idea that I would cure her so quickly. It's a miracle. The girl examining Ayan exclaimed. A miracle. They repeated everything from the grove. A miracle. They worshipped me like a deity. I grabbed the queen by the shoulders and asked with a malicious smile. So what? Can we unite our tribes now? She even seemed to blush, but she nodded anyway. Ha 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 ha. I laughed. Great. Hugging the queen to me, I said. I allow you to command my tribe as long as you obey my orders. Suddenly, the queen, blushing even more, said. I have one last request. Last request? I asked. Yes, you should officially become my partner. We will hold a grand ceremony to confirm our relationship. What? I seemed to turn red as a tomato as soon as this information reached my brain. Although for some reason it seemed that I blushed all over. It's like a pie delivered to your home for free. We'll arrange a wedding, exchange rings, the wedding night, give birth to a daughter, raise her, the daughter will get married, grow old together, and die in one day. How touching. It seemed like I even let out a tear. The queen was standing right in front of me, a little perplexed. What is it? Don't you want to have a wedding ceremony? I want to, I replied, and hugged the queen. Of course I want to. But I hope that you will recover first, and I will have some time to prepare for the ceremony. Yeah. She nodded sheepishly. And then. I turned to the people. You can disperse. The wounded return to heal their wounds. All who are safe, proceed to your duties. In a few days, come to our wedding ceremony with the queen. There is. The crowd shouted. Ding dong. System notification. Congratulations. You have officially created your tribe. Please name it. Characteristics. Name. Chen Li. Physical form 2. Power 3. Dexterity 2. Authority is 0. Technology 27. Population 46. Characteristics of civilization. Stone Age. Level 0. Ownership. An unnamed theoryology of about 1 square kilometer. 46 people? Why are 4 more missing? What the fuck? Okay, first you need to name the territory. Without thinking twice, I called. A tribe of newcomers. The name has been added successfully. You have become the leader of a tribe of newcomers. Expand the population as soon as possible to complete the task to settle. It looks like we still have to subdue the tribe of the Gulf of the Sea. My wounds have already healed, so why don't I go alone and take some prisoners? But I do not know if the captured prisoners are considered to be the population of the tribe. Damn. Watching me, the queen and Au slowly left. And I heard Au talking. Come on, queen. Don't worry, the king is often like this, you will soon get used to it. I put my hand on my face when suddenly I heard more voices. It was 2 girls from the grove, they were loudly discussing something. Seeing him so happy, I thought he was crazy. Yeah, me too. Now he should look depressed, in the end, it will be the same with him as with previous partners. At the ceremony, the queen will cut him into pieces. And then mercilessly eat. What will she do? That's what I got. After that, all my thoughts were filled with this. Do the queens of their tribe eat men? Is this the reason for the lack of men in their tribe? The king? Suddenly, a voice was heard from behind. Why? Don't eat me. I shouted. Oh, it's you, Dada, what's the matter? King, do you really want to partner with this woman? Oh, you mean that, I need to think it over again. But I heard that you are going to hold some kind of ceremony. To tell the truth, I was a little hasty. Really? Dada asked hopefully. Yeah, I nodded. Who would have thought that the bride would turn out to be a mantis? I was unlucky. Dada. Why did you leave? Suddenly, Au's voice was heard. Didn't I say that the wounded should be hidden? I want to keep the king company. Leave me alone. Au. Let them no longer hide, but build a camp as much as possible. Okay, I'll go notify them. Dada said goodbye. King, think it over carefully. Think about me. Let's go already. We have a lot of work to do. So, shouting and bickering, they left. And I was left alone with my thoughts. I have to talk to her about breaking off the engagement. The next day, as soon as the sun rose, I got up. Looking at how both tribes worked together, I watched the markings change on the map. There was a gathering point in the forest. A little lower across the river is the royal palace. And even further south is the temporary location of the Grove tribe. How well they got along, the newcomers have already begun to help build houses. But the thought of being eaten tormented me even more. That won't do. Today I have to end the engagement. I went to the temporary residence of the Grove. I was greeted cheerfully and bowed. Your Majesty, good morning. The king. Don't pay attention to me and keep working. I said, waving my hand. King, if you have come to see the queen, she is in the north of the river. You can follow me, I'll show you. I agreed, and after a couple of minutes we reached the place. It's there, up ahead. Good. She was there, surrounded by 2 servants, she was sitting in the river completely naked. This is really not the best time to end a marriage. But I have already been noticed, there is nowhere to retreat. Queen, His Majesty has come. Said one of the servants. Leave us. A moment later, only we were left on the shore. Me and the naked queen. A little exciting. Hey, it's our king. The queen began playfully. Do you have something urgent? She asked, exposing her body half out of the water. I think she's mocking me. No, I just came to see how your wounds are. The beautiful girl who was looking out of the water answered. I have not serious wounds, I will rest for 2 or 3 days and recover. And then she stuck out her tongue and added. Maybe I should go ashore so you can check? Or maybe you want to taste it? No need, I hurriedly shifted my gaze somewhere in the sky. By the way, I haven't asked your name yet. I said, trying to translate the topic. Ah, so that's the thing. Smiling, she said. Call me Xiao Wang. Xiao Wang? Yes, the previous queen gave me that name since she what? No one has called me that since she was exiled. Damn. If he doesn't eat it, he'll send it away. You should rename the tribe to the Mantis Grove. Such thoughts came to my mind. However, I tried not to show it. Then answer my question. Did your previous queen have a partner? And what happened to him? I asked with a thoughtful face, to which she suddenly replied. They were eaten. This is a tradition of our tribe, they say that by eating your partner, you will gain more strength. To put it mildly, I was shocked by this. Damn. How can she say that, with such a calm expression on her face? I thought, it even made me sick to hear this, but before I could say anything, she continued. But it was a tradition of past queens, I'm not going to continue it. Too inelegant. Folding her arms under her chest, she said it confidently. It even made me feel better and I decided to ask a question. So you don't eat people? I became a queen not so long ago, I haven't had a partner yet, so I haven't had the opportunity to eat anyone yet. But still she spoke with such a face, as if she would only be happy to eat someone, but I still breathed a sigh of relief. I got to my feet and waved to her. Then rest, drink a lot of water. I'm going to get ready for the ceremony, hahaha. The girl was in shock and didn't even know what to answer at first. When I was already leaving and thinking, even though I don't have to worry about being eaten, I have to negotiate with her. Suddenly, she called out to me. By the way, the king. Even though I don't eat people. But if someone offends me, I won't mind cutting off the excess. She said with a laugh and I was sweating a little. It's scary to hear that. Having already arrived in my village, I heard the sound of an axe strike. And this was a girl who solved vegetables and was praised by the fact that vegetables are cut well today. I decided to take a look at the task in the system. Information about the task. The main quest is to settle down. Content. Help primitive people build their homes, officially create a tribe, and increase the population to 50 people. Remaining time? 7 days. Right now you need to capture some prisoners and complete the task. I told myself. Suddenly Kushi passed in front of me with a big log in his hand. Oh, good morning, king. When I saw him, I immediately decided not to lose my chance. Hushi, I have a task for you. To which the big man was only delighted, agreeing. Then I started to explain to him. I need to leave for a while. You are responsible for organizing everyone's work. If something urgent happens, send someone to the south of the sea to find me. Kushi made a gesture. Calmed down and replied. Rely on me. The next moment I was already on the beach by the sea. Incredible beauty opened my eyes. After all, this world is much more beautiful than the past. There are still no factories that pollute nature. Suddenly I saw on the sand, by the sea, the corpses of monsters that looked like fishmen. Damn. What happened here? The tribe of the sea bay. Was it defeated? I was surprised, trying to assess the situation around me, which was clearly not pleasant. I continued to stand on the tree while the fishmen were already surrounded by birds, who apparently wanted to eat fresh flesh. They even had a certain hierarchy, because among them there was a bird that sat on the head of a fishman and was clearly tweeting something to its comrades. She looked really stupid, because what she was tweeting to the others was that she was the one who defeated all these monsters. I suddenly landed on the ground, right next to these birds. Get out of here. I said and kicked the most brazen of them. The birds immediately panicked and began to flee the scene of the crime. Even birds demonstrate their superiority. It's safe here for now. I was thinking, trying to assess the situation. The next moment, I turned my attention to the nearest corpse, on the back of which there were 3 huge claw marks. The bodies are still warm and don't stink. It looks like the battle ended not so long ago. Just like Sherlock Holmes, I began to reason. The shape of the wound is very similar to the scratches from their claws. The claws on the fingers are very sharp, you need to be careful. These are crazy. Was it really a feud? Suddenly I came to this conclusion. It would be nice if I could find survivors to pick them up. I was hoping for this while walking along the beach and looking at all the bodies of monsters, waiting to see a body that breathes. Suddenly my attention was caught by a body that was half lying in the water. This corpse. Is he hurt? I asked myself and came closer to examine the monster. The face is distorted, the death was very painful. The limbs are all covered in mud. It was a drowning. The water people. Can I drown in the sea? I was really surprised at this conclusion and even sweated a little. After that, I sat down next to the corpse and again asked myself a question that no one could answer me. And yet, what happened here? Suddenly I heard a voice. King. Trouble. Then I turned around and saw my ally. Xiong, what happened? I immediately asked, while the boy was running towards me in a panic. We were attacked by a bunch of crazy people from the tribe of the Gulf of the Sea. He shouted, continuing to run towards me, and I was really surprised by this, after which he said. We're going back. Immediately. And literally the next moment I disappeared from my seat. There were cracks in the ground in the places I stepped on, so fast I ran, trying to urge Xiong on. At this time, my subordinates were standing near their houses, waiting for the monsters to attack. Carefully. Stick together. The leader I left behind was speaking. Conserve energy. Get ready for battle. He continued, and the rest of the fighters started throwing spears before the fishman got closer. These are crazy. Ignore the spears. The leader was surprised to see how one of the spears hit the shoulder of the monster, and he did not even waver. What happened to them? They don't seem to feel pain. Our scout spoke while standing on a tree. The fishman, on the other hand, kept coming closer and closer. The danger to my village was growing. Don't panic, don't let them drag you into the sea, only death awaits us in the water. The temporary leader of the camp warned, holding an axe in his right hand and standing in a stance. The next moment, the fishman got down on all fours and with red eyes rushed at full speed towards my allies, which put everyone into a stupor. With each passing second, the tension increased and the distance between monsters and people decreased. A good chance. Their formation is destroyed. Fight them off. The leader shouted, hitting one of the monsters on the head with an axe. It was obvious that the fishmen attacked without tactics at all, as if they were ordinary animals that could not think. Suddenly the leader turned his head and saw the girl. The queen came to the rescue. Then she said, "What's happening? Is this the Bay tribe?" Surprised, she asked, watching as the monsters continued to run at them, continuing. "Don't they live on the south shore? Why are you here? Besides, their condition is very strange." She noticed and the leader took the floor. "I don't know, it looks like these people went crazy, came from the shore and attacked us. Perhaps the word monster suits them. Already the whole army of my village came to the defense and everything was already going to outright slaughter. You can even say that a war is about to begin." And that's the moment, literally in 1 second it all started, we rushed at each other. A bloody battle began. The queen, wrapping a vine around the throat of one of the monsters, stood on his back and asked, "Hey, can you talk?" She wanted to find out what was going on here. Something's wrong. They can't communicate. When she came to this conclusion, she howled. "Psychos. What are you doing?" Then, without even noticing, a monster jumped out from behind her, ready to kill the queen. The huge claws were literally a few centimeters away from the wonderful woman, but the murder was not destined to happen. The next moment I appeared, just like a hero, protecting the queen with my axe at the very last moment. From our collision, a huge number of explosive waves appeared around. "How dare you attack my woman?" I declared, exuding pathos. The queen was incredibly happy to see me, but the next time I shouted at the top of my voice. "Xiao Wang. Go away." And how good it is that I have an understanding woman who immediately listened to my order. I swung the axe again, beating off the fishman's hand and sighed with relief that I had made it in time. The monster continued to stand on its feet as if nothing had happened. Was he able to withstand my blow? I was surprised and continued. "But how? I have 3 points of strength." While I was wondering what was happening, 2 more monsters jumped out at me from behind, which my woman warned me about. I didn't even need to pay attention to them because the next moment, 2 of my allies took them out of action. "Fight with us," declared the first. "Don't even think about hurting our king," said the second. "As expected from you, a great job." I praised them with a satisfied smile, continuing to stand still. "I'll leave it to you to deal with these violent fish," I said, looking at how my allies are already dominating the monsters. After that, I turned towards my woman and continued. "They need your help, I'll figure it out myself. I have to focus on this uncooperative guy," I said, looking at the fishman, from whom I covered my woman. "I don't want anyone to bother me until the winner is determined." "Start," I said, standing up. This monster surpassed me in size and was clearly one of the strongest among all. We continued to stand opposite each other while the carnage took place around us. "I'm sorry about what happened to your tribe, but it has nothing to do with us. So you found the wrong revenge target?" I spoke and was interested, pointing my axe forward, but these monsters were clearly not in their minds. They have lost the ability to communicate. I came to this conclusion and our battle with the bully began. Naturally, in tactical terms, I was superior to the monster, so I decided not to kill him, and dodging a lunge, I tried to knock him out. But no matter how I dodged, the fishman also did not lag behind. Excellent muscle strength and reaction. I admired the monster's skills, trying to dodge and attack. Plus sharp claws and teeth. Although I am several times stronger than ordinary people, but in the face of such a monster, I lose. There are my subordinates in the area, I can't use the destructive power of the Pangu axe. And this power cannot be used whenever it pleases, unless it is absolutely necessary. It's a bad thing. You can't get distracted. I talked too much in my head, and the monster took advantage of it, increasing the pace of our fight. Thanks to this, the fishman was able to grab my hand with his teeth and blood splattered. It was very painful and I couldn't suppress my groan. Damn. Let go. I howled with all my might and tried to chop off his head with an axe, but even at such a moment the monster was able to dodge. I quickly broke the distance, realizing that I needed to make a plan. The madman. It's good that there is protection in the form of a cape from the Bull King. Otherwise, his fangs would have torn off my arm. I looked at the wound, from where the blood was no longer flowing, but the teeth marks were clearly visible. The next moment, the monster screamed and inexplicable things began to happen. His eyes began to fill with blackness. The claws got bigger. And the next moment, a purple aura appeared around him, and he roared with all his might. Then he jumped towards me, but with a speed that increased several times that I didn't even have time to really react. Literally on instinct, I sat down, but since it happened at the last moment, the monster was able to rip off my cloak. Then he squatted down and began to devour him, in the truest sense of the word. Why did this guy's speed and strength suddenly increase? If I hadn't taken off my raincoat, I would have been torn apart. I spoke, watching the fishman finish my cloak without moving anymore. Why doesn't it attack anymore? I wondered and continued. What is he doing? I asked myself and saw how he and the rest of the monsters turned towards the water and began to leave. Leaving? So why else did he take part of the bloody cloak? The next moment I turned my attention to my allies. One of them was very wounded. Why was he surrounded by so many monsters? I asked myself a question and began to come to a conclusion. Maybe. I understood. It's because of the blood. They use the smell of blood to capture the target. Besides, this smell makes them become even more violent. Especially in this strange state. They're just following an animal instinct. Just like scary sharks. But I sat down, trying to come to a final conclusion in my head and bandaging my wound. If you use this feature. I tried to think, but I was distracted. King, I'm back. Is there anything I can do to help? My subordinate asked and I turned in his direction. Putting my hand on his shoulder, I said. You're just in time. Take 2 people, bring 3 piglets. The boy was surprised at my request. Piglets? Didn't we leave them to eat? He asked, but I already turned around and started to leave, throwing one last. Do as I say. Then he continued to reason. They forced me to sacrifice 3 piglets. You'll pay for it, you lunatics. I decided and told my woman. The wounded should leave as soon as possible. She unconditionally listened to my order and went to carry it out. Good. The pigs are here. The boy shouted, approaching me, along with 2 other people. Let them run to the river. I pointed to the monsters in the water. After that, the subordinates released the pigs and the troika rushed forward, being in great fright. Then I turned my attention to the tree and shouted. A gun. But he didn't let me finish answering. Understood. Look at me. After that, he launched 3 spears towards the pigs, which clearly hit the target, nailing them to the ground. The fishermen immediately stopped, as if time had stopped. At the same time, even those who had already gone into the water stopped, after which they immediately turned their heads back. In the next moment, the monsters, the whole crowd, growled and rushed in one direction at a tremendous speed. A huge number of fishmen's teeth hung over the 3, already dead, pigs. Then I decided to bring my subordinates to their senses. Don't stand there. I shouted and continued. Rather, smear the tips with anesthetic. Shoot at vital points. Everyone, having listened to my order, immediately began to act. King, look, something seems to be wrong. The boy in the tree shouted and I asked what had happened, paying attention to the fishman. The monsters at that moment held onto their throats and bellies, growling violently, and the next moment, they began to fall to the ground. Did you poison 3 piglets? I decided to ask my subordinate, to which I received a negative answer. Literally in 1 second, all the monsters were already lying on the ground, with foam in their mouths. Don't come any closer. Beware of deception. I tried to warn my people. Damn. What is going on in the end? I asked myself, looking at the huge pile of bodies that were lying unconscious. Agricultural area. Next to our houses there were cages with the same monsters that we defeated with the help of 3 pigs. They were guarded by girls armed with spears. Suddenly, one of them started talking while looking at the cages. Be vigilant. If they do something, punish them. A herd of freaks. She finished, looking at the sleeping monsters. Suddenly, one of the fishermen started coughing, which made people wary. What? Woke up. The same girl exclaimed and the next moment the monster pulled his hand towards her, saying, Help. Help me. His appearance was, to put it mildly, not very good. Just like after a binge. The girl turned to her partner and said, "Tell the king they're awake." While the weather was sunny outside and hot enough to swim in the sea, I walked in the direction of the cages. Literally the next moment, my voice began to recognize the situation from the girl who was the head of this duty. "Are they awake? What is the situation?" That was my question. Literally the next moment, all the fishermen woke up and began to pray. "Water. Give me some water." It was obvious that they were suffocating because, as I said, it was really sunny weather and the sun was very hot, and the monsters that live in the water are not used to this. Looking at all this, I was interested in another question. "What's with that fat guy? The one I fought?" I asked the girl from the patrol. "He also woke up, he was closed separately from everyone." She answered and led me in his direction. The big guy, like his comrades, also asked for water, and I expected it, so I immediately took a container of water with me. Uncorking the bottle, I turned it over, and the water immediately poured on the monster's head. The fishman did not think long and raised his head to the sky so that water began to fall into his mouth. A little bit of good, I thought, and stopped pouring water on him, which made the monster surprised and upset. "Do you understand me?" I asked him. "Yes," was his answer, looking at me with hope that I would continue to pour water on him. After it, I immediately said to the girl who was standing next to me, "Keep an eye on him." And he gave her a horn with water so that she would give the big man a drink if necessary. As soon as the horn was handed over and I continued to watch what was happening, the girl immediately started pouring water into the monster's mouth, saying, "Take your time, it's all for you. If there's not enough, I'll bring more." She was really kind because after everything these monsters did, not everyone would do that. Then she smiled sweetly, continuing, "But the river is far from here, so we'll have to wait." The monster made an innocent face and calmly started talking. "My people also need water, please give them some." The girl, hearing his words, said, "Of course, this is the least I can do. It would be very nice if you could help us by answering a few questions." Suddenly, the monster got angry, which surprised me by asking, "What? You gathered an army and attacked us, and now you want to ask a few questions?" The girl was in some confusion from what she heard and turned to me, hoping for help in solving this issue, but I just stood in silence while the monster continued. "Although I've heard before that you mountain tribe are still weirdos, but I didn't expect that so much." The girl plucked up the courage and asked, "You say you were attacked by a mountain tribe?" The monster did not expect such a turn, exclaiming, "Aren't you a mountain people?" He asked, looking at the three people standing in front of his cage. "You made a mistake, we are a tribe of newcomers, and behind us is our king." The sweet girl answered confidently. It was difficult for the monster to understand what was going on, but he didn't hesitate to ask, "A tribe of newcomers? I've never heard of such a thing. Surely it was the mountain people who sold us as far as possible." It was evident from the speaker's face that he did not understand the situation at all and was building theories judging by what he remembered. The girl sighed heavily and tried to explain everything that had happened recently. "And again you were wrong. You have attacked our territories. We have no relationship with the mountain tribe. But then you lost the ability to communicate like wild animals, so we had to lock you up here temporarily." The fishman suddenly interrupted her and exclaimed, "No, that's not possible. Are you saying I've completely lost my memory?" The girl answered the question with a question. "Then can you tell me what happened?" And that was the right question. I was interested to know the answer to that. "My name is Haihu, I am the leader of the Sea tribe. We lived near the shore." The monster started talking and it was as if we were transported into his memories. One of the fishermen said, "Boss, Chenyu and Huabei are fighting again. Let them fight." The big guy replied, pointing his finger up. "Fights between young people strengthen relationships." He spoke while his subordinates were fighting not in a friendly way, but to the death. Suddenly the fisherman's child screamed, "Aya! They stole my bird." And the next second, the boss grabbed the kid by the head and said with a smile, "Is it Alin and the others again? Don't cry, you have to learn how to fight. Only if you make others afraid of you, no one will dare to steal your things." When suddenly the kid pointed his fingers at the forest and calmly said, "But it's not Alin, it's those weirdos." The boss immediately became serious. "What? Are these people from the mountain tribe?" He asked a rhetorical question, remembering a tribe that he had already met before and who came out of the forest at the same second. "Why did you come here?" the big man declared, looking at the leader of the human tribe, who raised his hand, stopping his people. And the next second he lowered his hand and loudly declared, "Kill them." After that, the entire crowd of people who stood behind the leader of the mountain tribe rushed at the monsters. The boss of the fishmen was immediately electrocuted. Mountain tribe attacked? He asked himself, trying to decide what to do. Then I was stunned, and in the end I was captured by you. And I don't know what's wrong with the rest of the people from the tribe. I don't remember how it happened. The fishman finished his story, and I was thinking, trying to find answers in the story. Then I calmly exhaled before starting to speak. Recently I was on your territory, and there was not a single living creature there. If I hadn't left you alive, the sea tribe would have disappeared from the face of the earth. My words shocked the boss of the Fishman tribe. He opened his mouth with shock and disbelief, and the next moment he shouted furiously, "No. Damn. I couldn't protect them." Because of his strong cry, the cage staggered and an unknown thing fell out from somewhere. The girl immediately noticed and asked, "What's it?" Then she picked up an incomprehensible thing and showed it to me. "King, look, I haven't seen this plant before." I grabbed an unknown leaf and immediately said in my head, "System." While the identification was going on, I was looking at the leaf, trying to figure out for myself what it is. Suddenly, an inscription from the system appeared above the leaf. Cannabis. Herbaceous plant, bitter in taste, has an analgesic effect. Its smoke causes hallucinations. My eyes opened wide and I exclaimed in my head, "Is this really it?" My subordinates started carrying water to the entire tribe of fishmen, and so they were all happy, saying, "Hooray! Water. It's water. Give me. Take your time, that's enough for everyone. Pass each other a drink." The girl who was watching everyone was talking while I was standing and thinking, looking at cannabis. "Indeed," I said. "These leaves were collected from their bodies, this is cannabis." I already had more than one cannabis leaf in my hand, as people gathered it from other monster bodies as well. Xiong said that the leader of the mountain people has divine power. It looks like this revered god is actually a demon. Forced the sea people to mercilessly kill each other and caused them to hallucinate. Some guessed that hiding in the water, you can avoid inhaling poisonous fumes, but eventually died of exhaustion. The mountain tribe is intimidating. These crazed amphibians didn't invade here by mistake. If it was the mountain tribe's plan to get the amphibians to fight us until both sides get hurt or die. This means that the tribe of newcomers is not only noticed, but also considered an eyesore and want to remove. Even the mighty Hai has turned into a doll that can be manipulated at will. The strength of the mountain tribe cannot be underestimated. I was thinking, assessing the situation, which made me tense up in the next moment. System. A panel with my characteristics appeared in front of my face. Characteristics. Name. Chen Li. Title. No. Weapon. Pangu axe. Race. Human. Physical form 2. Strength 3. Intelligence 1. Dexterity 2. Authority 0. Technologies 27. Ownership. No. 3 points of strength is not enough. Before the real danger comes, you need to strengthen your strength. Not only me, but everyone in the novice tribe is still too weak. My reasoning was first distracted by the big man's voice. If I had noticed these bastards earlier. And after his words, a girl from the patrol came up to me and said, "He's about to have a nervous breakdown. I'm afraid I won't be able to ask anything." Then I started explaining the situation. "We don't have time to wait for him to calm down. A catastrophe is likely to happen now." Suddenly the girl opened her eyes wide and asked, "Are you talking about a mountain tribe? Did they plan this attack on us? But how did they do it?" Then I picked up a cannabis leaf and tried to explain to the girl. Although it is difficult to explain it clearly, but they have leaves that control these poor fellows in cages. I do not know when the next attack will happen, and I am not sure if they will personally fight. There is too little information right now. We are in a dependent position, we need to hurry up and make him remember something. I told the girl and called the big guy to pay attention to me. "Hey who? Don't blame yourself too much, it's all the poisonous fumes of this thing. No matter how strong your body is, it's all in vain. Look at this." I handed him a cannabis leaf and he even took it in his hand, after which I continued to talk. "Do you have any memories related to these leaves?" Suddenly, the boss slapped himself on the head and exhaled heavily. I remembered the smell. I could barely smell it when I was fighting those bastards. Among all the strange smells, I felt only sharp and unpleasant. I immediately caught on to his words and said, "Lots of strange smells? Of course, they use different types of poisonous plants. Before you figure out the functions of these poisonous herbs, you should not take the initiative." Suddenly, as soon as I got to my feet, the monster waved his hands trying to stop me and started talking loudly. Your Majesty Chen Li. If you're going to fight these bastards, please let us join in. If I don't take revenge on them, I'll regret it for the rest of my life. After that, all the fishermen screamed as one. We want to personally take revenge. Please, King Chen Li. All we need is revenge, we'll do anything. Revenge. They shouted, stretching their arms in my direction. Although I need more people to complete the mission, but I'm only 4 people short. Also, I was thinking, looking at everything that was happening, when suddenly I was distracted by the boss of the fishmen. Our sense of smell is very good, it can help the king identify and track the poisonous herbs. Very useful. After hearing his words, I tried to explain the situation to the monster. That's why I'm worried. You're too sensitive to the smell of blood. If everything gets out of control, the consequences will be sad. But the fishman didn't want to listen to me, he started arguing. We would not have inhaled poisonous fumes, and we would definitely have been able to control ourselves. He spoke to me, after which I began to raise my tone to him. But our opponent is a mountain tribe. Can you be sure that they will not release poisonous smoke? And hearing my words, the monster calmed down a little, and the next moment he said uncertainly. No. I understand your desire for revenge, but anger and hatred alone will not solve anything. If only. I have a way, but I'm afraid you won't like it. I tried to intrigue the monster and it worked. These people are all that's left of my tribe. If you help us take revenge, our lives are in your hands. The monster said, sitting on his knees in front of me, and I agreed. Okay, hey who? As long as you are ready to part ways, follow my plan and split up to complete different tasks. I guarantee that you will be able to take revenge. Of course, most of you won't have a chance to take revenge personally, do you agree? I asked with a smile, and the monster confidently stated. I agree. After that, the rest of the monsters from the sea tribe also screamed. We also. Count on me. We will take revenge. The next moment I turned to the girls from the patrol and started to leave when suddenly the boss of the fishmen stopped me. King Chen Li? But without turning around at the monster's words, I just calmly and loudly said. Ayu, Athen, let them out, now they are our comrades. After my words, notifications from the system flashed in front of my eyes. You have successfully founded a tribe of newcomers and expanded the population to 50 people. You have completed the main mission to settle down. Mission rewards. Feature points 3, large treasure chest 1, rock art 1. Since you completed the task 8 days ahead of schedule, you will be rewarded with a big gift. Great, finally completed the task. I thought, looking at my updated stats, where were they? Physical form 2. Intelligence 1. Strength 3. Dexterity 2. And also the population of the tribe increased to 68 people. Sighing heavily, I mentally said. The population has increased by 22 people at a time, should we expect more rewards for the overfulfilled part? After that, the system displayed the inscription. Please distribute the points, and I confidently stated. Increase the power. Huge energy immediately flowed around me, and I began to feel a huge surge of strength. The power is bubbling inside me.